everybody. Welcome back. It is us. We are here. I am going to be changing things on the overlay as we go because I realized that things didn't save and I was too organized and doing things correctly. But we're going to let people go around, introduce. Hi, I'm Prax. I'm your friendly neighborhood Prax. Welcome to the channel. This is our Inside the RPers studio breakdown, after action, all of that good stuff for Vampire Chronicle we just finished. And if you've missed out on any, or you did not stay for the whole finale last week, which, hi, I'm sorry, there will be spoilers, but also you can check out everything on the YouTube, because that's where it is, including the full, complete, time-stamped number of that finale. It's a little long, but we're gonna go around, let everybody introduce themselves, and you get to talk about yourself this time, not just who you were playing. So, PB, hey.
Hi, I'm PB for my PB Plays Inside. And I played Alice Vanderbilt, our Ventru vampire, who had a messy relationship with her wife and her girlfriend, who's now dead.
Oh, the girlfriend was...
Not the wife. The wife's fine.
Yeah.
The girlfriend, though, she's no longer with us.
Yeah,
she's R.I.P. Always forget.
Hey, Norden. How you want to follow that up?
Hi, my name is Noonan Ligadir. I played the problem. That's it. We're done.
I mean, maybe. That's fair. Cool. That's all you want to put there? Cool. Hey, Pope, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Pope World Build on the internet over at Blue Sky and start playing games. Played Warren Wells, both of those use he, him pronouns. And Norden, you now have an additional name for the character? The problem? After Eddie, Ezra, Uzair, Francisco, and now the problem? Is he from Jersey?
I would like to remind everybody that all of the cast of Jersey Shore are A, have degrees, B, have full-time jobs, and C, do not have the arrest records of anybody else involved, like, say, the Real Housewives.
They were just there they were on vacay. Like, let them enjoy themselves.
Suki has 2 master's degrees.
It was like spring break, you know?
Exactly.
Would you want them to record you during spring break off in the Jersey Shore? Especially after getting a master's? Fucking imagine? Like, absolutely. Pop off.
Exactly. Hey, Scott, welcome in. I'm doing okay. I don't know how everyone else is doing tonight. Lightly crazed, positive feelings, all of those things. Well, this is our after-action wrap-up look at our Chronicle that we just finished. So I have a couple of questions that I got sent from a variety of sources over the course of the week. I'm opening to chat to let anybody in chat give us questions. Just put the word question in front so I can pull it and then pull it up for everybody. And players, as always, you get to ask any questions you want now. It's all done. You get to do the things. But I think we need to start with something else, because Norden threw out the fact that he needed to make a roll. Apparently.
Yep. Hold on. Let's see what happens. Oh, no, that's sad.
A remorse roll? Yeah.
Yep.
Down to humanity 6.
Oh.
Don't worry, he'll get it back.
I doubt it.
I mean, it depends how long you're out of your stake.
That's the thing is, like, you can't get humanity back if you're staked.
Yeah.
By the end, though, I think there was, like, some desperation to be more of who he was, right? So we saw that, and that includes the whole staking thing. Like, I see myself as the issue. I need to go. No, no more of this. No more. I'm losing myself here. This is not going well. Just fix it. I'm not making the situation better. Yeah. Anyway, that was my role. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, we did have fun. I guess that could lead to the first question that we all have.
Sure.
From our dear friend Jim, other doc. So he says, you were using V5 for this one, correct? I'd be curious now that you've had some more time with it, how you felt versus earlier editions for you and any other players who have experienced earlier editions. So this is the whole reason I did this is because Norden asked specifically asked if I would A, run a vampire game, and B, run V5. And I said yes. And I did. And I don't hate it. It is still not my favorite version of the game. And I think it really comes down to, and I've said this before, and I will say this publicly here, this feels like the writers of V5 looked at Powered by the Apocalypse and said, ooh, that's popular. Let me run that and put it in Vampire. But that means that there's an inherent timer on the game that you know, there's just this inherent timer in the game that isn't built for longer campaigns, right? Longer chronicles, long nasal gaving, you know, long political stuff. You just get your character destroyed too quickly. As unfortunately Uzair found out.
Hey, I'm still standing.
This is true.
Well, shockingly. Unfortunately, I guess.
I didn't have any control over that. Like, you guys all, like, had the rolls, and the rolls went in your favor.
Well, to be fair, he also played it safe. I'm a known V5 liker. I think this is my favorite version of the game, despite its issues. I do think it has issues, however. One thing that I do have to admit I will always prefer V5 for is their discipline system. I know some people don't like it, but the super special offsets of disciplines got so ridiculous by the end that it felt like you could min-max which disciplines are the best disciplines. Whereas here, they're all the same. If I have Daemonion and you have Daemonion, we have the same Daemonion. It's the same thing. Whereas if I have Obfuscate and you have Obfuscate in V5, yes, it seems less exciting, but we both can have different versions of Obfuscate. And that alone provides a lot more, in my opinion, player agency in how we make choices and what disciplines we choose, and also a lot more diversity in a group. Because it doesn't feel as bad when everyone in the party has Obfuscate, when we can pick and choose how to obfuscate.
The answer is not the obfuscate. It was, how much fucking Oblivion did y'all have?
Okay, that's not my fault. Legitimately, this time it was not my fault. I refuse to be blamed. But no, Oblivion was to the point where Pope's Oblivion, my Oblivion, even the NPC's Oblivions all felt different and worked weirdly and differently. Mm-hmm. And that alone showed just how much Oblivion is capable of. And Oblivion, keep in mind, is one of my least liked disciplines because of how bifurcated it is. I think Blood Sorcerer really shines in V5, despite the fact it is more powerful in previous editions. So yeah, that's one thought I have.
Having thoughts is good.
You can disagree. It's fine.
Yeah,
you can agree.
No,
it's great.
There are things that I definitely like about V5. The entire Predator style thing. I will say, I've said it once, I will say it a million times. One of the best additions to the mechanics, period. The fact that it takes in one of the key aspects of the vampiric condition and goes, hey, this is how it impacts you. This is how, like, this is your preferred way of going about and gaining sustenance. Because of this, here's some positives, here's some negatives. And it really allows you to sort of like start to immediately hang your hat on who this person is. And that's amazing.
Uh, it's it in my opinion, it makes it much more player friendly. It's one of the best player facing editions, in my opinion, throughout the entire history of the game. And I do like that there is the versatility that you mentioned, Norton, with the disciplines. That being said, I still don't like the hunger die. I I don't. Uh Call me old fashioned, call me old hat, call me a grognard. I I miss just blood as opposed to hunger die. I miss I miss courage. I I miss all of the virtues. I do, because that gave some very compelling play and allowed for some interesting places where there was more versatility in things like, you know, all of your other magic systems in additions before. Where that's where you got your versatility, not actual standard disciplines. They tried to move forward, and there were some positive gains in Requiem, where we got to see a bit more versatility um, in combination disciplines, which started happening in standard Masquerade, like it's after revised, like third edition, where they started like doing the combination disciplines. Um, but even then, that felt sort of like a secondary, an afterthought, as opposed to really like dug into. So they got better in Requiem, and I think Requiem has a lot of meat on it as a setting, or Odra Cool for life. Uh, but with V5, it carries on Masquerade's legacy, moves the setting forward. In some ways, good. In other ways, why? Um, and there have been a great deal of improvements. And there have been a number of mistakes, a number of own goals. Um, I think with this experience, plus the others I've been fortunate enough to have, um, I'm overall more positive towards it. But I think if I'm going to go with rankings, just with like if I'm going to sit down and play Vampire, if you ask me what is my immediate first preference, at this point it's going to be Requiem. First edition Requiem. It it doesn't have quite as much power gaming cheese as Masquerade or Dark Ages. Um, but it's not quite as low to the ground, quick to play as V5. You can do more of your navel gazing, you can do more of your plotting, you can do more of the political thing and not have a character just burn out like that. But like V5 is not as low as it once was. Like I put it almost on par with just like Masquerade Anniversary. It for me, it's Requiem First Edition, Dark Ages, because Dark Ages is just fun. It just is. Also, like when the editors and the owners of the company at the time look at the author and go, "You gave too much value. How can we like merchandise this? You put too much good in this." That's a selling point for me. So Dark Ages, and then like I could go either way between Anniversary or V5. I hope, Jim, that helped sell things at least on my side.
So, PD, what did you think?
Well, I have experience with one other VTM game, and that's Dark Ages. So I don't have as much insight on this one. But to piggyback off of what Norden said, I do, because I mean I don't have as much like compare contrast here. But the one thing that I did notice was the difference in the disciplines and the branching that happens under them. And I did enjoy that. I thought that was very interesting. I thought it gave, for me, more depth into what the abilities could do, would do, and also just, I guess, the mystery behind what the enemy vampires would have. That it added another like layer of like detective work, almost, of just like, well, what are you good at? I know that you are this clan, but that doesn't necessarily mean I know what you do or what you're capable of. There's various options here. So, and I don't know like what you can or can't do. Like with Hannah, that was kind of easy, but with like, with some other characters, I'm just like, well, I mean, even in game, we talked about it, where it was like, well, Warren has these abilities, but like kind of not really. And then we have over here Usaid with the full gamut of of Oblivion. So I thought that was a lot of very interesting. And oh man, because I don't want to say it's easier to understand VTM 5, because it wasn't. They were both on par with one another. I think it's just, Dark Ages has the added benefit of it's more condensed than VTM 5, and it's 12,000 books with everything in between them.
And to be fair, when we did Dark Ages, hi, by the way, you can see that wonderfully complex, beautiful Chronicle up on the YouTube. It's there. I condensed some things to make it a little bit easier for people.
Yeah, you didn't use all the books.
I didn't use all the books but I used the key books that were important, right? Like, you could play effectively a Dark Ages campaign with just the core book, but I added the core book, the high clans, and the low clans, right? Like I added the three mains. Yeah. And you would have pretty much everything. The fact that when we were building like NPC characters for this, and we had to use the wiki to find out what certain abilities were, and they're like, oh, we released it in a comic, but it's canon, and we released the mechanics for it. I'm like, this does not make me happy. This makes me annoyed.
It's the most White Wolf thing. It's the most White Wolf thing ever.
They're slowly releasing them, supposedly, but it's been so many years. And Atavism and one of the other ones, Obdurate, both still haven't been re-released. Everything else has. Just those two. Oh, it's so frustrating.
And the fact that you're like, no, I have to rely on the wiki instead of your index in your own book that you published, tells me a lot about what you're thinking as writers and how you're putting the game together. It's just, I don't like it. I'm sorry. I mean, I had fun. I'm assuming y'all had fun. Welcome in,
yes.
but
yeah.
No, didn't have fun at all.
Okay, well, that's fine. You know, it's great. I have a character who is perpetually going to annoy you for the next eternity. Great.
I think every character perpetually annoys Uzair until the end of eternity. I think that's kind of his thing.
Oh,
am I wrong?
Oh no, it's the whole thing is like, no. Flory is the queen of passive aggressive with her elders. I will be that annoyance with you. I can't do anything really aggressive with you, but I can be the perfectly polite eldest daughter and use that to the most controlling way possible. Oh, you wanted a nap? You got a nap. Now it's time to wake up.
Don't wake him up. He's just going to get Hazard more trauma.
No, it's okay. I'm going to keep waking him up. See, the fun thing about Ravnos is they can't sleep in the same place for 7 consecutive nights in 1 square mile, that just means she gets to have, like, on a weekly basis come to annoy him. Sets her schedule.
I'm gonna put myself in a lead box.
Don't do that. Lead leeches.
I don't think he cares.
So we learned that in like
important.
We learned that after you got steak. So
yeah,
Usair doesn't know that just yet.
Usair doesn't know that. Usair does not know that Flori's entire response is, "You made Hastrid do what? No. I'm going to. You slept for a week. You got your nap. You said you wanted a nap. You got a nap."
Okay, do we have more questions, or are we just here to egg me on a bit more?
No, I can do both of those things at the same
That's
time.
part of it.
Both of those are the same.
There's a great question.
Yes.
In chat, from our friend Berserker Rage. Hi, Scott. For the players, what was your favorite story moment with Prax? Like, I know for me, it was just the moment of phone tag with Warren and his family. That was amazing, and having the interaction first with Anthony, and then like Gianna making her way up to the island, and it's just like, I need you to tell her no. Not getting any details, and then her just coming up and being force of personality, but everything is crumbling around on the island, and Warren actually telling her no. Like, all of that just helped to better solidify the character for me, and was amazingly joyful in that moment for that. Now, like, just overall, just as a fan sitting here watching, it has to be the moment between like Lauren and Alice on top of the mountain. That's cinema.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was only half of that. I wasn't. The PB. See, they do the thing.
I enjoyed all the scenes, but in particular, I realized last night that I have such a visceral reaction to Hannah's voice now. So it is the scenes Alice had with Hannah were some of my favorite story moments, just because we got especially before Alice devolved a little bit in the narrative. We go from seeing like this more put together professional Alice into a more very, very petty person.
Oh, really? I'm sorry about that. Are you sure you don't want to join us?
No. And I hate her so much. But I love that. I love that I hate her. I love that how much you made me hate her in each interaction. Just got us as we learned more and more about Hannah, I learned how much I actually hate her. Up until every interaction Alice had with Hannah, because that was just very good. It was very, very good. And for other players, really, I would say it was, I think when Hasidet first saw Usaid again, I think like that entire first interaction was my favorite one of all of them. Also the one that I think Usaid was the least shitty to Hasidet in.
I feel like my character gets mocked more than everybody else, and I feel like maybe that's undeserved. Anyway,
I have no comment.
honestly, screwing with Lauren as Francisco,
Mhm.
that was, God, it was terrifying and it was rough and it was awful, and I loved it.
I mean, she's totally cool with it. I mean, you're such a
No, but
person.
that's the thing. She's totally cool with the person that was like, you could just see how far he'd fallen, despite the fact you had at that point never seen what he'd fallen from.
Mhm.
Right? Like, he'd fell into the part too well. It was nice. It was good. It was meaningful.
I enjoyed it. I had all the fun with it.
Good.
So, another question I have from over here is, oh, okay. Was there anything that was there any of the NPCs that you wanted to meet that you as a player character did not get to?
Oh. Eric. I wanted to meet Eric. Alive, living. I wanted to see what the vibe was there.
And I feel kind of called out here.
She could have.
I could have. He was around sometimes. I no served no narrative purpose for me at any point. But I would have liked to meet him.
That is so shady. That is. I mean, I wish I could meet him, but he served literally no purpose for me. So.
Except the catharsis,ism, I think.
I mean, did it feel good to cut his head off when you didn't even know who it was?
No, honestly, it didn't. That's because Uzair was trying not to be that person, but at the same time, there's a war going on. That man is broken.
Mm-hmm.
Someone tell him to go to bed. I feel like he needs to go to bed, you know?
Well,
the
he
old man
needs
to
like
go
a
to bed.
sandwich, and to get walking. 'Cause, like, that's the whole thing. If you start to have like sundowning dementia, you don't want to just send them to bed. You want them to like engage with things that they actually remember.
Dementia? Damn! What?
I'm talking about things that you do for your elderly relatives to help them not have those problems. Also, fun fact, the biggest counterpoint to early onset dementia is hearing aids. That was a study that
Maybe
was
we should
released.
get some of those.
I don't know. I mean, does having a brand new body count?
Obviously not.
Y'all are
We
trying
love
to make
you.
me act up. That's what this is.
Please engage. Go for it.
No engagement. Nope.
Oh, okay.
I am unengaged. I am disengaged.
Okay.
I am out of words.
Okay, so do you have an answer for the question then?
What was the question?
Were there any of the NPCs that you wanted to meet in character that you could not?
No, there's none. Straight up. I got my fill.
Mm-hmm. Pope.
I had two. It would have been nice to maybe have seen more of what Malik and Warren's relationship was like before the events.
Mm-hmm.
Given that there was a tie there, but unfortunately, Malik was indisposed and forgotten. And it would have been interesting to see Siobhan. From
Siobhan?
the family?
Oh, from your family. Yeah. Sorry. I was like, Siobhan is not an
And-
NPC in this game. Siobhan is your family member and not the NPC in the other game. Sorry, I was...
There's so many.
Mhm.
But yeah,
no, like those were like two, but I think really it would have been like because just how long both, because like Malik's been in main since like '65,
Mhm.
and so seeing what sort of, because we've seen that many of Warren's relationships with the other kindred on the island weren't all that positive. It would have been nice to have more context with, especially with somebody who was so keenly important to Alice's story.
Okay, well, those are the only questions I had given to me in advance, so y'all get to ask me questions now.
Delightful. Norden. I'm somewhat familiar with how some elements of Uzair came together, but both you, Prax, how did let me get this right? Uzair, Ezra, Eddie, Francisco, the
Oh my
problem
God.
come into being?
Like mechanically, or
Well, like again, I know that he started sort of like as a pie in the sky, shoot the moon question that Prax said yes to, but I'm not certain that the audience knows that. And also, once you got that yes, Uzair has this amazing history. Not just that, but also I know like Francisco has this incredible history,
uh-huh.
and I would like to know how those two, who then became one, um, those characters sort of came about, and how you went about creating them and like fleshing out that history and characterization.
Prax, you want to cover your bit, and then I'll cover mine.
Sure. I mean, the
Or
easy
thing?
answer, the first answer is Norden has not played with me long enough to know that if he says he wants to do something weird, my answer is always going to be yes. And then I'm going to make it you kind of regret asking in a good way, which is what I did.
Yeah, I always thought this concept was rather weird, right? The idea that
Mhm.
you can be, because it's sold to players and to storytellers like, hey, if you fail your role, the GM takes the character, and it's the GM's character now, ha 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 ha, right? This extra consequence for Diablerie, and I think, especially in V5, Diablerie is really heavily mechanically villainized, right?
Mhm.
For understandable reasons, but not in a way that it makes it feel super playable. So there's this concept: if you fail a Diablerie, the person who you Diablerized is the person carrying your body around, and you're gone. That's
Mhm.
it. And you hand it over to the storyteller. And I look at that and I say, well, what if it's the other way? What if instead the storyteller comes up with a character and I just Diablerize the shit out of it, and it's mine now, and I'm puppeting it?
Mhm.
What then? What does that look like? What does it mean to have disciplines that you don't recognize, to wander around? And I think that's the reason why storytellers don't actually portray these Diablerized characters very often, because how would I can't concept my mind around it. So I thought, okay, what if I take this concept that's not meant to be playable and give it a shot? And so I reached out to Prax. Prax was like, that's a cool idea. And I said, okay, here's the rule. I'll tell you the clan of the person I'm Diablerized by. That's it. And Prax eventually was like, okay, pick the name. So I picked a name. and that was it. That was it. We came up with some stuff together. The vast majority of it was Prax. When it comes to Uzair's backstory, the vast majority of that is Uzair's, but I tied it to whatever characters were just around because I could. It's it's hard to explain. Basically, it's a hey, what if we tried this? Great, let's do that. And Prax and I went our separate ways, created our characters, and came back. And then I took Prax's character and said, "Okay, mine now." And it had there's other things you didn't see, where if I leveled up in a discipline that the bad guy had, but I didn't, what would happen is Prax would just tell me what I had, and I'd take it. That was it.
And it would be
Yeah.
entertaining because we would do that off screen, and then I'd send him a message, but we'd be with everybody else because there was people were leveling at the same time. It's like, oh, okay, here, and then just Norden's entire comment is like, no, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? What is he on? It would just be like, what is he up to? Why is he like this? He's wrong. Like, yeah, but
Look, there's no bad choices in Vampire, and yet somehow Francisco found all of them. I don't know how that happened. He doesn't make, like, he makes mechanical sense, I'll say that. And there's some shifts that we had to make so it would make mechanical sense on Nazer's end. But functionally speaking, no, he makes no sense. He makes all the poor decisions. Bad. Bad boy. No good. Stop that. Bad.
and then I also mechanically so Uzair, right, so like we set it up so that Uzair is waking up from being staked 79 years in the future 24 hours before the game starts.
Yep.
So he has on him, and he spent the night before basically with what Francisco had on him so that he could play the game. And so why is Francisco here? I know the answer, but no one ever asked the question, so we'll find out. And he had a dossier on the entire island with notes that I then sent to Norden, which led to a running list of, what the fuck? Why does he like this? Why did he do this?
It also turned into me deciding to build my character the same way I was vociferously saying, what the fuck is going on? So I rewrote Prax's notes in Uzair's voice, being like, what is... Huh? What does he mean? What does he mean when he says words? I don't even think he knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a mess. Does that answer your question? I think that answers your question.
Bits and pieces, not the full thing, but most of it.
What
Because
parts
again-
are you missing?
Yeah.
Again, like the thing that's curious for me with any of these things, because a lot of for me the best parts of actual play is like character study.
Mm-hmm.
You have these characters that have, again, Uzair and Francisco have this deep history. I'm wondering how you went about creating those histories.
By ear. Well, this is true. This is how I operate. There are a few events that I write down, and I write the choices made in those events, and then I leave the rest open. And then when it comes down to defining that character, the gap further, it's usually tied to what's ever going on. Because okay, here's the thing. People approach things as like, you have a very narrativist view. You know, you're playing a character in a book, and so all of your character's choices must reference that, be a part of the story. And to me, that's very limiting, and it's very restrictive, and it has a habit of making characters seem a bit too built for the narrative. You know? And then you have the opposite, where like, no, it's a sandbox. You build a character, you write a 1,000-page backstory, you send them out to the world, and then you hope, you know, they make the choices that they make. And to that provides a lot of guidance as to what they did in the past, with not a lot of thought of how they operate as a character. So I say, why choose, and I do both. I write down some specific points, and I write down how Uzair acted in those points. And I do the same thing for like a character like Carrick, right? And then when it comes to a gap, sometimes what's narratively interesting is to reference whatever's happening in the story with something that happened in Uzair's past, right? So sometimes I'll do that. Other times, do it contrary, especially with a character like Francisco also being around in the background, where I make a character that a choice that Francisco wouldn't make, and I rewrite that and insert it in the past, right? It's not to slip out of Vampire for a bit, but it's what I did when, you know, I decided Carrick had been with Kadarin.
Mm-hmm.
That was not decided when I created the character, but it makes sense given his choices, so it fits in the gap nicely, and it's narratively interesting for the story that we're telling, especially considering one of the storylines contributed true love. So in Uzair's case, I wrote down, where he came from, who he was back then, and then I wrote how those choices that he made informed choices that he made during other worldwide flashpoints. And how, if you track Uzair's backstory, you'll see that slowly he became less and less of a Watcher Salubri, right? In terms of the last thing that he was doing was actively fighting for the Allies in World War II. That's not Watcher.
No. He had shifted.
Exactly.
He had shifted over to being more of a warrior salubri, which is why that conversation we had about Hasrit was made the most sense. It was like, and to play off of that with Francisco, Norden gave me, he is a La Sombra, and I forced him to pick a name, and that's it.
I did pick a name.
You did pick a name. And that led to, okay, I need a La Sombra of enough age and ability to... He needs to have weight, but at the same time, there has to be a real reason why Uzair would win the Diablerie fight. And if you actually go back to... So, like, it's this interesting counterpoint to what happened to Trooper's character at the end of our Montreal by Night campaign. Because in that, he was the reverse, and he did fail the Diablerie. But the audience and us weren't supposed to know. I figured it out pretty much immediately based on, like, just Simon's poker face and things that were happening. But I wasn't, like, we didn't say anything or I didn't do anything, but I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this has happened. I don't know what, like, I knew that he had failed against the Diablerie, but I didn't know it was because of giant dragon elder Methuselah. Like, that I didn't know. But the fact that he had failed the Diablerie, I did. But we kept playing because the way Lucky was built was he didn't, the person who had won the Diablerie was playing Lucky as if Lucky was still the... if pilot. Dixon was still the pilot, right? Letting Dixon be the pilot. But I was like, okay, so we need a level of character that will fail to be the powerhouse against this Salubri, but at the same time still needs to have a threat of power that would have been a foil to this Salubri, which is where we ended up building out the most La Sombra I have ever built. And I mean, like, Norden, bless him, hid so much immediately when he's describing the character, but, like, I gave him description of the suit that Francisco's wearing, the cufflinks that he had, the two brands on his arms, which are the ones he couldn't hide, but he hid the cufflinks, and I found that was hilarious. The note that he was like, I'm getting rid of those. I'm getting rid of those immediately. It's like the signet ring, all of these little, like, details about the character that gave you an idea of that he had a life, he had an ability, he had someone out there that would have been looking for him actively, and actively was, and that there had to have been points where he got his information. Why did he know that that Uzair was there? What was he doing there? All of these little pieces. So I just built Francisco as if he's like, was going to be a player character. Like, mechanically built him as if he was a player character, which was, like, useful, but it also meant that I knew all of Francisco's backstory. I knew all of the things that got from Francisco to, from his embrace and a little bit before, to the point that he failed the Diablerie and now Uzair is in control. So I basically took that concept of a Diablerized character is taken by the hands of the storyteller and basically said, oh, here's your Diablerized player character, and the storyteller in this instance is Norden.
To be fair, one of the reasons why I was so cagey with some of the details is because I wanted to feel a bit like a slow reveal.
Oh no, it was, and I was totally here for it. But I found it was hilarious that you were obsessed about the cufflinks and not the fact that you had French cuff shirts and that your two have brands on the middle of your arms. Like that was what was funny to me.
Because to him, the symbology meant something a lot more than the reality did, right? Because this is a guy who understands symbology and second meaning a lot because of he's a Sufi saint. Well, he was. So
I mean, he'll probably get his humanity back.
We'll see. I mean, I guess we won't. But he, like a lot of those early choices that are built into his backstory are just there to describe why would someone turn this guy. You know, but they don't necessarily inform. He's been alive for hundreds of years, so. You know, over time, you shift his people. And that's crucially what's most human about him, in that he has shifted over time. Not stayed soul. And that has nothing to do with humanity shifting. That has to do with the fact that he is a person, was a person, and he could still grow as a person even though he was dead. Which is a backstory that I was quite interested in showing, especially that moment where he looks back. And you can, I got the chance to go back and replay myself as who he was before all of this, in that little flashback that was done through Memoriam, which was super fun for me because I got to show, no, that guy was totally different. You think that you have a good understanding of him now because you can see past what is Francisco? No, that's the guy who will survived what the one who got staked didn't live through that. He's different now. He came out of that stake different because it wasn't just a stake. Anyway, building his backstory was really a thing that I didn't in process, right? And I don't think I finished it even by the time we reached the finale. There's still so much of what is informing his character today that I haven't discovered yet, and I'll reveal it if and when I ever play him again and figure it out.
Thank you both.
Then Norden, do you have a question? Because we're just going to popcorn this.
Ooh, popcorn. I don't like popcorn. I do have a question. Do you feel, that the character you chose for this 6-shot was the right character for the story? Or if you had a chance to go back, would you rewrite him or her? Yeah.
Mine's easy. No. I
loved Alice. Alice was perfect.
I also
perfect was a strong word.
I said it though. I felt it. Alice is perfect.
Alice is my learning character for the system. So I learned a lot about what can happen in Vampire in the Dark Ages game. And I learned a lot more about Vampire in this game, the more intricate things that could happen. Like Pope has pointed out in the past, for this game in particular, that a lot of things that happen in this game don't happen normally. Granted, I don't know that, but for me, I'm just like, oh, Diablerie, that's very interesting. Something I had read about, but not really understood as much and in as much intricacy as Osair played out and how Norden you portrayed it. And that put it in my head that, oh, Diablerie is a thing. Same with staking. I'm like, oh, I know that staking is a thing, but in action, I'm like, this is a thing you can do. With Warren, some of the more, the consequences of the actions of interacting with elements in the game that I've read about, but I had not thought about how that connects into reality, right? So there were a lot of things that I learned there, and with Alice, I learned more about just like the importance of family, because my other character didn't have a family in Dark Ages, or if she did, I never thought about it. But in this one, that was so integral to the character themselves. And then also I learned about something else that I'd read about, but not experienced in real time, which was blood bonds. And so through all of that, I learned a lot more about vampire, the setting, and what is capable in the system because of Alice. So I would have not changed Alice. Also, just the fact that her entire character concept just came from me reading 2 slides on the presentation and just being like, but what if I became a problem for you two in particular? And so I just adored that about the character in general. So no, I wouldn't play anything else. I have many ideas for future characters, but not. But I think Alice is perfect for me in this game.
See, Alice is perfect.
As for Warren, uh, Warren's weird even for me. Uh, in that, oftentimes where how I come up with a character is less of a character study to begin with, and a lot of times, even if I do plan, the character has other plans. Um, and Warren, I only had bullet points for, and like to let you the audience know, like Prax was absolutely lovely in having all these slides put together before we even had our session 0. So we had at least like picture rough sketch of a number of the individuals who were part of this community. And one of the things that stood out to me at the time was the clan composition. And I love my Malkavians. Like, one of my absolute favorite clans. No surprise to all of you. It's like my unholy trinity is Zamish, Toreador, Malkavian. And this was a amazing opportunity for me to get to indulge in something I don't often get to, which is play a Malkavian. But at the same time, I don't think I could come up with a better character for this because the story would have been so much more different. Warren was an absolute disaster of a kindred. Absolutely meaning well, but at the same time is kind of his own primary antagonist in a lot of ways. As well as being a pawn in a lot of other people's games. And should he had a better head on his shoulders and been more curious, he would have been a far different character. But having someone who is so insular, is incurious in many of the unhealthy ways, was an interesting place to go. Especially with Malkavian, because a lot of times when you see Malkavians, they're very over the top. But when you read the best portrayals in the fiction, they're almost hermits. they're these people that are painfully aware of their own problems and that they need to have better control over things. They're not going to have the confidence of a Bruja who also is a problem. They don't have that sureness of self, and they do, like that innate lack of confidence was fun to play with, and then having Prax point out to us before we even got started, like one of the major themes of this is family. is lineages and going, oh, as a vampire nerd, as a nerd of this game who have gotten to enjoy the stories of this, I have a doc from a super fan that gives me listed genealogies of the different clans of characters that are mentioned throughout the history of this game and its stories. I'm getting to go, okay, so this individual looks interesting. Let's descend from them. And then as gameplay goes on, go, let's go back further. Oh no, I can trace the lineage all the way back to Cain now.
Cain isn't real. Cain won't hurt you.
Cain is most definitely real. Cain is driving a taxi in New York. Though at this point in time, I'm figuring he probably has left New York. New York's too weird.
At least in New York in our canon.
New York's too weird. It's too loud. He needs another like metropolitan place, but one that's like after everything with the Second Inquisition in Europe, Paris is probably quieted down. He's probably there. Or like he's moved to Rio, and if he has, good for him.
Why Rio?
I see you, Scott.
Again, New York beats Montreal. That's not hard. But
The anti-Canadian bias on display.
no. I experienced Montreal by night. We don't go to Montreal.
Is that Montreal or is that just...
There's a Methuselah dragon who's in charge, and also there's multiple gateways to Oblivion.
Is that
Again.
Montreal or is that just our friend? Is a question you should always ask yourself.
The answer is yes.
Simon is always a problem, but we love him.
Oh, absolutely.
But no, I don't think I could have come up with a character I would have enjoyed more, or I think would have fit the story better than Warren. Because again, as Prax said in the case, like I finale of the session before, they're called maniacs.
I said it in the finale. Desdemona said it.
They're called maniacs, and I'm thankful that I got to play a clan that's so close to my heart in a way that felt true not just to the character but also to the greater story of Vampire, and that makes me very happy.
What about you, Norden?
I'm curious as to what this game would have been if I was playing a character who had not gone through everything Uzair did. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm curious to... If this were a game, I would be replaying it right now, being like, hey... A video game, I mean. I'd be replaying it right now as, like, a freaking Hakata, or a Tsumitsu, or...
With all the damn Oblivion, play a Hakata. Have all the fun.
Right? It feels like there's a lot of like extra dialogue checks that I didn't get to make because I wasn't Hakata, and I want to get them. But that's the thing, where I would absolutely play through this exact same story again as someone else. I almost always would. In this case, I'm glad that I still played Uzair. I've never played a Salubri before, ever. That is the first time I've ever done so. I don't know if I will again. It's playing on hard mode is playing on hard mode for a reason. And their story impetus doesn't usually hit with me. It hit in this case, which is why I insisted that he be a Salubri, but it usually doesn't. So I don't know if I would, and I'm glad to have gotten the chance. But would I play this again with a different? Yeah, I keep playing with a different character each time. What if I played a character that was a Malkavian and a relative of Warren's? What if I played a character who's a Ventrue, but diametrically opposed to Alice over here? What would the game would have been then, right? Come on.
See, the fun thing about this is the core story moments that happened would have happened anyways, regardless. Differently, but the core moments would have been the same. The tangential story that basically was unengaged until the very last moment for you all was still going on in the background, right? Like, all of that was still happening in the background, regardless of what you were doing. So yeah, you could have had very different experiences by playing very different characters. But I still would have tied it to you all in a way that made sense.
I mean, if it weren't for Lauren's, if it weren't for that storyline, I had plans to go see Heath. I had plans to possibly go see Monique. I had thoughts to go to all these areas to try and figure out what was happening with the Sabbat and with, particularly with Malik. Because that would have still been a storyline. So I did have thought. Shut up. I still had thoughts about.
For those of you who don't know,
What?
No,
Who's that year put a pin in that and then promptly forgot?
consistently,
It wasn't even Uzair forgetting. That's a sad bit. I told everyone behind the scenes, I continuously have forgotten that Malik exists and that I've staked him. I never wrote that down in my notes. I wrote down so many other things, but never that. So I staked him, and then I promptly forgot about him, and thus Uzair promptly forgot about him. And honestly, that just works, doesn't it? We'll find him eventually.
It does.
I'm sure he's still around.
Yeah,
somehow.
his ashes, I'm sure, somewhere.
sorry, PB.
No, you're good. But like, if I hadn't, honestly, if the entire crux of Alice's character wasn't Lauren, I probably would have explored a lot more of the NPCs in the world. And we probably would have learned a slew of things a different way at a different point. But that's just, to emphasize your point that there's a million ways this game could have gone. And a million ways we could have interacted with the story going along. And I think that's like the beauty of it. You can just be like, oh man, if only we had spoken to Heath earlier, a real person, and not Saeed. Maybe we'd have learned some other things. And I just think that's awesome. I think that's just really cool, especially the way you usually run the games.
Mm-hmm. It would have been interesting. It was also interesting to me that all of the wrong people engaged with all of the NPCs that were except for Alice and Hannah, engaged with all of the NPCs in ways that led to the worst possible outcome. And I was here for it.
Was it the worst possible outcome? Everyone lived. Well, except Malik.
You don't know that.
It's true, I don't.
Do
He's
we
somewhere.
not know that?
I mean, you want the answer to that question?
Yeah, that we all answered this previous one, right?
What? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you want the answer to the question of where Malik is?
Yeah,
Who?
what happened to Malik?
Oh no, like Malik has been dead the entire time.
Yeah.
And you gave him to Heath. Like, he would have been okay. Except you gave him to Heath, and then Heath promptly turned him over to your friendly neighborhood prince.
Giacomo.
I trusted Heath. That was my problem.
Yeah, you did.
I thought that was so funny. You had been so guarded with literally everyone else on this island, but you go and you speak to Heath, and you speak to him like an old war buddy of yours with none of the same same protectiveness you had with literally everyone, including Hasidit. I was like, what is this? Why are you being so nonchalant with this guy? Especially the way he addressed you so quickly, so like unconcerned that your face is now a Sabbat Piscus,
That's the thing, because Heath is the old war buddy out of the group.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, Heath is the old war buddy, but Morgan is the emotional attachment that Uzair felt betrayed by, so he didn't want to actually engage with, because Uzair is still feeling betrayed by... The betrayal from Morgan isn't actually about being staked. The betrayal with Morgan is he's buddy-buddy with Eric before Uzair even gets staked. I was like,
Brings him over without even like so much as a consultation or how do you do, man. Rough. It's the reason why I was so buddy-buddy with Heath on the back end, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I plugged that in to the code is because to me it was much more interesting to have one person that Uzair trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Just trusted. And Heath was like the only person we had left. But it worked. It made sense where like Heath was always on the outskirts, which
Mm-hmm.
means he wouldn't be involved in the political shit that led to what happened. So I can trust Heath.
Totally
can
can
trust
trust
Heath.
Heath.
Well, you know
Until
what? We
he-
can't all be winners.
Until he tried to totally tried to, put you in a trunk.
I mean, and he suffers for that. Well, he suffers as much as Uzair makes anyone suffer. I'll put a pin in that. We'll solve it later. Fix it later.
I mean, you left him with a Senna to fix his brain.
Sure, yeah. Problem solved. Good.
There you go.
I'm done.
That was entertaining.
I'm gonna take a nap now. Well, I mean, that's the thing where Uzair's like, no, this is the solution to the problem. Here's the problem. Be the solution. Because that's how he operates.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how he operates. He's not very... And this is built into his like old backstory where he was part of a failed... Coup is the wrong word because that's just how the Mughal Empire worked back in the day. But he was part of like the failed prince's retinue. The dude's not political.
Mm-hmm.
He's an advisor on to how to... He was an advisor on how to be Muslim while still being pluralistic at the same time. How to break orthodoxy. That's what he was an advisor on. Not on politics. Or on talking well. Or on being at all chill. So naturally, when it came down to it, the dude is not political. He's just, no, this is the problem. Be the solution. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
And any other problem that he doesn't have a solution for, he puts a pin in it and comes back to it later.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally.
I'm such a bad problem solver, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's
That is
not
so
terrible.
bad.
Compared to most elders, nope. He's actually one of the better ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part.
All of this is not wrong.
And that's why the beckoning is coming for all of you.
Except it hasn't.
And just wait. There's still time.
I rolled it early on.
Yeah, and
I
it
know you
wasn't.
did.
And I loved the fact that you rolled it and you failed, so you don't have to deal with it, and then nobody brought it up ever again. Because I hate I will tell you this straight up. I hate the beckoning as a MacGuffin, right? Like, I understand the narrative function of it is to rewrite the board so that you can have LARPers say that these great elders are in my way, I can't deal with them, I want to become prince, blah, 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 and do the whole thing narratively. Fine, I understand that as a thing. But the just general definition of what the beckoning is as a MacGuffin annoys me as a storyteller. I think it's lazy. I think it's poorly done. I think it plays into tropes that really are not great in the long run. I think it does a lot of was not well thought out narratively as a consistency. So like, I understand what they wanted it to do. I think what they chose to do that thing with was not good. Not good thing. But within the narrative, I have to address it or acknowledge it or deal with it in somehow. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Nobody-
get Beckon, man. I
No, you
wanted to
didn't.
get
You were
Beckon
never
so
going to.
bad.
You were never going to.
We're never gonna. But see, that could have been your eternal stake.
But that's the thing is like, nobody asks the question. Everybody's too busy dealing with the what, but nobody ever asks any of the questions of why about this entire island. Except Alice was like, this island is fucked and I hate it.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
asking a question. That's just a comment.
That is the declarative statement.
Yeah.
Alice did
Look,
not
if
feel
it-
like very
what if-
interested in the ins and outs of the island so much as just rejecting its very conceit.
Because that's all I needed to do. My job here was to see what was happening with Malik and get Lauren back. That was all this was. It's completely incident. She was not lying to Usaid when she said, "I do not care about you. I do not care about this island. I only care about my family, and that's it. You can do whatever the fuck you want so long as it doesn't involve my family, and we can go on our own ways." Because quite genuinely, that was her entire plan. The fact that this place is fucked, secondary. Her life's already fucked. You guys can deal with your own bullshit. I'm gonna go deal with my bullshit. It just so happens that I had to deal with your bullshit, which is unfortunate.
I can deal with my
And
bullshit.
Lysander asks, "What was the deal with the island?"
No, the entire point of the island was to break the beckoning.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well, did it?
Oh, it did for Giacomo. And
For
Francisco.
one dude.
All he cared about was himself. Giacomo was Giacomo began even before before the players get involved and start creating backstories. I was like, okay, why what happened? Who was in charge in 1947 that let a Banu Hakim come to power and come to power in such a way that he's playing both of the major sects that are not Sabbat, most of the two major quote unquote good sects against each other in the middle, and maintaining this power for almost 80 years, right? Like, why does the Cam not care? Why do the Anox not care? What is going on this island that is preventing them from looking at Morgan going, why are you in charge? Like at all? And why do you claim to be both the Prince of Acadia and the Baron of Bar Harbor? Like, what's going on here? How is this working?
I just assumed it was his winning lack of personality.
Oh no, he has plenty of personality, and he used it to great effect for other people. Not you, but you know, other people did. So who was in charge before him? Okay, well, that was the prince before. But I had a lot of like, okay, what is he gonna be? And then I was like, oh no, I'm gonna make him all of the problem. All of the problem all of the time. So I was like, okay, what is the worst? What is the one thing that would be the worst possible? Oh wait, a Ventrue who absolutely rejects the Council of Thorns. That looks at that and goes, that's a dumbass motherfucking idea. And isn't Mithras, so can't get away with the Mithras of it, of like, I'm still the Prince of London, fuck you, and go away, and, you know, just leave me to my ruling of England and the rest of everything around me. So what does he do? He becomes Sabbat, which means he now has friends with Francisco. What is the two biggest things that Oblivion gives you? Well, as we saw, creepy tentacle shit and visions. So what happens with a Sabbat elder who is told by a La Sombra with visions and future ideology that there's going to be this thing where we're going to get sucked to the Middle East and we're going to have to fight for ourselves and we're probably all just going to die to Methuselah? He's like, no, I do not want that. I'm going to go into self-preservation. So he made the island. It's a trooper. Hey, trooper, thank you for that resub. He took two of the things that I love narratively most and combined Brigadoon with Pleasantville. Everything was fine. Nobody ever had to leave. There were never any problems. Except we know that Morgan occasionally acted as judge, jury, and executioner, so what was the problems? See?
Other folks sniffing around.
Exactly. And causing
course no.
problems.
Nobody was causing problems. That's just all in our heads.
And then Francisco needed a snack. Francisco was
Why
actually
was
supposed
Francisco on the island?
Oh, because they were getting to a point where they wanted to expand that ritual out. It was
Sucks to try that, I guess.
it was
Didn't work
Giacomo's
out
bid.
so
It was
well.
Giacomo's real bid to be regent. What can we prove? I am the head of this. I can prove that as the head of the Sabbat, I can end the beckoning. Let me show you. Here's my test island. Let me show you against the continent.
Well, now he's too dead.
Yeah.
He is
Sucks to
very
suck.
dead. It is a thing that happened. See? And then I like Hawk is the one who understands that reference. But yeah. It's why
I have
he
a question for.
you go ahead, ask quick questions.
I have a question for Prax.
Oh wow, me? Okay, sure.
Yeah, you're. So in this, the strange future that is the future, you have been duplicated but sent back in the past to play in this game. What are you playing?
I mean, I was effectively
Don't ask
playing
questions
Hastro.
about time travel.
The question about time travel is always over here. We leave it alone. Its narrative function within the different stories serves different purposes. I'm not looking at it whether I'm assuming this is a fantasy level of time travel and not a sci-fi level of time travel, so we're just leaving that whole thing alone. I'm assuming I'm playing Hasret.
Hassard is a main character.
Imagine the chaos they would have created.
Imagine how dead Warren would be.
So dead. So dead.
Imagine how dead all of us would be, actually.
I still get by.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know?
I might end up staked on purpose this time. But I get by.
Nah, see the thing is, Kuldrake's like playing Grandma or Sophia or Flory. Like I don't bring previous player characters into narratives as a Flory is a unique instance. I could bring Flory into other chronicles because of how I created Flory as her function really is within the she started in Montreal by Night with this. She travels around the world, she solves problems, and then she bugs off. Like that's her thing. She's in and out and in and out. So she could go into a different chronicle and do that same kind of thing, but I don't usually do that. I build a character for the chronicle that I'm playing in. Veronique, no. Again, she's a previous player character. She also is so tied. She is an elder. Mechanically and age-wise, she is an elder. And she is just also not the kind of character that I'd bring to this game, right? Like, even with Alice being here, I would not bring Veronique. As we like to, if I'm introducing Veronique as a character to people, who she was as a player character, we were playing Masquerade 20th Anniversary Edition, and we had me and my friend, like one of my longest friends is the storyteller, and he was running the game, and he had two players, me and one of his other friends who'd played a lot of Vampire before, and he was introducing two other players to it. So, you know, two older characters and two younger characters for to guide them along. And one of the younger characters, we're playing in DC. We've just got the switch in to the Camarilla. We've pushed the Sabbat out. Veronique is brought in to kind of like massage and do the political party thing for the new prince, who's a Ventru, and the younger character who was a like organized crime, involved in Russian organized crime before they died, had a girlfriend that showed up at the party that he was trying to avoid since he became a vampire. he didn't know, the player and the character didn't know that his girlfriend was actually the sister of the Bishop of Baltimore. And Veronique is like, I do not need this drama at my launch party for the prince. I do not need this. You can take your little Sabat ass and go back to Baltimore. You can stay the fuck out of this. And she and the NPC tried to use her, you know, she was all somber, and she's trying to seduce this Bruja into letting her and her Bishop of Baltimore brother into the party. And I'm like, no. And she dominates the other player, and Veronique dominates the other player character, and says, break up with the bitch, and she's gone. And I rolled 27 successes against him to do that. Which is, I like, Veronique is not a player character anymore. She's just an NPC. But if I need, can come in for a variety of reasons. Like, I don't... Flory can come in and out. Veronique, no way in hell.
I mean, at the end of the day, I feel the same thing about Ozera. He's, with the exception of this one game where, like, let's try it out, let's see what happens. I feel like that's an NPC if there ever was one.
Yeah. I would be intrigued if we played a Dark Ages campaign to see Uzair in Dark Ages.
Young Uzair, yeah.
Or more accurately, because technically Dark Ages would be even before Uzair was born, but like a 15th century, yesteryear campaign, like a 15th, 16th century campaign, right? That would be an interesting. 16th century is great. But yeah, that would be where I would put that kind of thing. Coldrake, in the beginning, Bar Harbor seemed nice, quiet, balanced place. How could it be such an idyllic place when all those kinds of weird was going on behind the scenes? And what tipped it over to all out, what the fuck is going on here? Oblivion. And also,
but it's also common.
They weren't really that great behind the scenes to begin with.
It's also a common narrative trope. You know, if you think about it, like, it's a very Cthulhu-esque trope. But I think the truth is, and this is where I get into the horrors are much more real than you will ever imagine. The truth is, the vast majority of idyllic places like this, in white majority areas, are built off of horror.
It's right? Also just Maine. In this case,
yeah, it's
also just Maine. I would like to point out that Stephen King writes equally well horror when he's sober. He just writes slower. Right? Like, that's like the only thing the cocaine did for Stephen King was made him write faster. But all of his horror is very grounded in the reality of what Maine is and what New England as a whole is, right? Like, you turn around and there's a, you know, that's a graveyard. Who's buried there? Don't know. Half the stones are missing. Just randomly out in the woods. Well, it wasn't woods to begin with. You can see where the stone wall was, or this was somebody's field, but hasn't been used as a field for a couple hundred years, so the woods grew back over it and the land took it back. What's there? Don't know. Don't ask. Welcome to New England, right? Like, and there's a lot that kind of ties into that, particularly when you get into stuff like the weight of the North Atlantic, the weather, the cold, the gray, all of that's true. And yes, there's a lot of horror that's not good things that come out of this. Funnily, that just kind of like idyllic isn't there. Yeah, Northern Gothic is actually a lot different than Southern Gothic. Having played games that are set in both. I ran games with both, right? Like, Carousel Court is Southern Gothic, and this is Northern Gothic. I'm not doing English Gothic, because fuck them.
And narratively, it's why Alice didn't come in like a wrecking ball, even though she could have absolutely come in and just, you know, gone to go see Heath and gone to go see these people, that she ended up not doing so. And stayed very focused on her goals, not just because they're her goals and it's what she wanted, but also because you don't go into these little places And it's like, I mean, Warren like warned her at the beginning, like, don't go poking around places you don't need to. But she wasn't gonna. She very gently prodded into several things just to try and get a gauge as to what was happening. And I think that's where we started getting a little bit of the Pleasantville-ness of it all. But she never pushed hard. It's why she never asked questions about the island, because you don't ask questions when you don't want the answers. If you know, I didn't want to know what was happening on this island, because then I'd know too much. And as we saw with Usair, knowing too much is not a good thing, because then people are upset at you for knowing those things. So, oh, don't give me that. You tried to mind wipe me as soon as we spoke one time. Don't, and you failed.
Say that like it's a bad thing. Wouldn't you have been happier had you not remembered? Exactly.
I still don't think there was too much of a narrative difference whether or not you would have wiped me or not. I guess maybe Malik might have survived, maybe, but
yeah, probably.
I think that's a big maybe.
Because Malik didn't go to see Uzair, to see Hasret, until you confirmed that the Piscus was not a threat.
Yeah.
Man, you should have just let yourself be mind wiped, and there'd be one more sad little venture roaming around the island.
Oh, we would have taken him back, probably.
No, he was already
I think
fucked.
it was staying on this
To be honest, he was already fucked because he had run in. Like, I was rolling for a bunch of stuff in the background. He ran into Giacomo, and that's why he wasn't wearing the vest when he gets to Zair's, because Giacomo didn't have time to kill him. He just needed him to forget and get rid of him. But he took the vest and got interrupted because he wanted to kill him, but he needed the vest for other reasons.
Yeah, he moved too much. He was too happy to go from place to place. I was like, Malik, this is not the behavior of someone who wants to live, bud. I need you to not do this. But I mean, what was I gonna say? I can't be like, Malik, just stay in place. Stop moving places. He wouldn't have.
Stop
he wouldn't have done
acting and making choices. Don't make any choices and you'll be safe.
Stop making bad choices. Not even just choices, just the bad ones. No, but he I was convinced that he was fucked by somebody. I just didn't know who he was mind fucked by. And especially after Lauren Alice was convinced there was something wrong with being controlled after the Lauren thing, which is why she very begrudgingly came into like, okay, fine, let's figure out what's happening with the fucking island. And it's like, obviously it has a bigger role to play in between you two. She was really trying not to, though. She tried really hard not to get involved in what was happening on this island. It just didn't work. But yeah, Alice was like, fuck, Malik is fucked, and I don't know what to do about it. That's another reason why it was like, I have to call Grandmare to come down here, because I don't know how to help Malik in this situation. And to be fair, I didn't.
Having been a fan of listening to you, PB, stream and play Ball X Pit, new update week from today.
Yay!
I remember a question that you mentioned, which is, how much did Lauren, and Hannah's personalities and histories change with the introduction of Alice?
Not as much. The connection between Alice and Lauren, that got added, but Alice's general backstory,
You mean Lauren's general backstory?
yeah, Lauren's general backstory. Thank you. I have a feeling I was doing so well until that last finale, but
You're
yeah.
doing great.
Look, I put it in the slides, in like the first set of slides, like the information that you all have on the slides. I put it in the first time somebody was there, and it's like, yes, they're so happy together, and they have a Subaru, and they have, they've been together since the summer of love. I was like, I thought I made it real obvious that was not a real or healthy relationship in any way, shape, or form. I was like, how many stereotypes can I put this on to see if we end up with that?
You forgot the U-Haul or the dogs. If you'd put in U-Haul or dogs, we would have gotten it.
I mean, they didn't need a U-Haul.
So they adopted 7 Dobermans. Done.
You never went to the art gallery.
Oh
Yeah,
my
why
gosh, I
would
wanted
we?
to burn that thing down so badly. Oh,
Instead, you burned
just-
down a heritage site. What's wrong with you?
look,
Blew
we
it
got
up, technically.
We're getting the insurance payout. And Lauren's gonna get me something really nice with that money.
But yeah, no, like
There-
that relationship was never supposed to be healthy. Morgan and Eric's was never really healthy to begin with, but it had a different unhealthy.
Oh. What was their drama? What was their unhealthy?
Y'all want to know?
And reveal all.
Yeah, I want to know.
Okay. I said it early in the game, episode 2, when is it 2 or yeah, 2, when when Eric comes to pick up Warren, that he doesn't drive German. He hates European cars. And he hates everything German.
Well, I figured that out.
He Morgan rescued him from the tower, from the pyramid. There was a very accidental and slightly unhealthy blood bond. Accidental in the sense that Morgan was accidental. Not so for Eric. Eric needed a way out, and Morgan provided the way out.
Those blood bonds, man, they get you.
Was Eric ever a good guy? Like, ever?
He was a not bad guy, in the sense that he was not, like, that's the thing, is like, he was not the villain that you made him out to be. He was an opportunistic victim. He wanted out of the tower. Or not the tower, well, the tower, but more importantly, out of the pyramid. And to get out of Austria, he took what was a friendly narrative. He was providing information and sending information to Morgan. He was providing anti-Nazi information. That's how, he had provided Morgan a number of information when Morgan was in Europe previously, and then during the war he was providing anti-Nazi information in general, and Morgan, had promised to help him out of the pyramid. And Eric, in a very both Tremere and kind of desperate victim, fucked in the head way, went to great lengths to ensure that Morgan wouldn't turn his back on that promise.
I'm not sad he's dead. Nope.
He
Right.
was.
Would you have been sad if Morgan died?
A little? He'd be more upset about it. I mean, it probably would have precipitated the staking thing, but I didn't know he was going to stake himself until, well, that moment in the finale, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not the moment you're thinking. I told you, sometimes sometimes I dip into narrativism. And what is the narrative device that I, Nor Ligadir, love? Here's the secret. Mirroring.
Yeah, I noticed.
The moment, and I mean the moment, Warren said, I'm going to stick around, I was like, that answers the question. I was 50-50 on what was going to happen at the end of this. Now I know he's going to GTFO the only way he knows how. Because Warren's sticking around. And he doesn't know that yet. It's not because he's making the choice. It's because narratively it's so much more interesting and funny for the guy who tried to convince you to stay to eventually agree that the right solution is to not be around. Beautiful. So yeah, that doomed him. That was his fate.
Mm-hmm. See, I look. There were things, and they still haven't figured out why it's the shittiest thing that you asked Hasrit to do it. Fuck you.
They still haven't figured it out. It's so funny.
I'm still
But there's only
pissed.
one person he could trust. There's only one person he could trust to do that, right? And he himself has got like half of his organs hanging out. He can't do it himself, not really. So what is the one person he trusts to do it? The one person who's been by his side this entire time. It's an acknowledgement of that trust. The unfortunate part is, she can never escape the same way.
Nope.
Because she's got one single flaw.
Yep.
And she's aware of that flaw.
Yep. Motherfucker.
Steak bait, my friends. Steak bait.
Yeah. I was there when she was created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's literally why she is so, and why Flory will give you no peace. You thought you were getting peace out of this shit? No.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You push that guy enough, eventually he will turn into the worst kind of elder.
This is true. But I think
He's
she
fully aware.
No, Flory will wait. You wanted a nap. You will get a nap. Maybe a month at most. Just long enough for her to move all of the rest of the family to the island.
Oh, God.
That's ridiculous. Bad idea. Not a smart idea.
Here. It's like, you feel that you need to you're having trauma issues? Fine. I can't help you with this? Fine. I'm calling my father and my grandfather and all of the other Salubri I know, all of the rest of this, all of the rest of the people that you had connections with. Here you go. Let's all come together and we're going to stage an intervention. Just hug it out, like Lysander says.
There's a number of nice parks on the island. Like, you can do a cookout.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't know if this makes it better or worse for the Camarilla that it has now become a site where the Ravnos have come.
It's worse for the Camarilla, but is that a bad thing?
Maybe not. Yeah. No. It's literally why. And the fact that the end mirror was such a foil. Thank you for that, by the way, narratively, for the opening bit with Hasrit when you refused to do the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
I know.
Oh, I was lost in the sauce back in those days, man.
It's like, and every evening it's like the end of each episode of the Waltons. Good night, John Boy. Only all of Uzair's extended Ravnos family and a bunch of Salubri who have taken and made this island their own.
There are very few Salubri elders left.
Yeah, it's basically you.
Uzair's like one of the only ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's some dude who like retired from the Sabbat, and then Uzair. That's it.
Yeah.
It's messed up, man. It's messed up what they did to that clan. Speaking of clan determinism is a thing often talked about when it comes to Vampire in general, and V5 as an extension. Do you feel like your clan boxed you into something, or do you feel like it gave you more room to play? And how do you think your character exemplified their clan, and how do you think their character went against their clan's type?
This is actually one of my positives to take away from V5. In comparison to every other edition of the game, V5 makes it so that the clan stereotypes feel less deterministic in how the mechanics reinforce stereotype. Part of that is how the discipline system works. Part of it's just how the system works. So I didn't feel boxed in at all with this. because so much of what was just part and parcel of being a Malkavian is kind of like on this giant optional menu. So you kind of have to opt in. Uh, I got to opt in a number of fantastic ways between like the two lore sheets that I managed to grab for Warren with the Cobweb and the Bloodline. But even the Bloodline gave me a mechanical way to differentiate from the standard clan and from the standard stereotypes. It was, again, very nice, refreshing, really. How like Horn, I feel, exemplified Malkavian is just like deeply, deeply aware of being, hi, yeah, we're Maine are called maniacs, or Malkavians called lunatics. So just the deep awareness of I'm not well. Like that I think was the way he epitomized that awkwardness, but also Malkavians have this nasty habit of seeing one, making the mistake of that's shiny, I want to see what's up about it.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta know.
Yeah, that was a not real good thing that ended for you, did it?
No, but like Malkavians are curious. They just are. And that curiosity always bites them in the ass. That also leads to a period of incuriosity. Like they are the cat that never learns. They are, again, Malkavians have big orange cat energy. But or they're like, oh, stove is hot. Stove is now the enemy. Stove belongs over with Vacuum. We do not go near Stove. We run past Stove. And that felt very much like, okay, this is how he's epitomizing this. The thing that felt very different is Malkavians are usually, even with how strange they are, how different they are from the rest of the community, they're usually plugged in. They're usually deeply tied into the kindred community. He was not. Like, he was isolated, partially by his own choices. Like, and part of that was being, hey, look, it's a depressive Malkavian. Or just, hey, it's a depressive.
Make different choices.
And the self-isolation, the using of insert hyper-focus thing here to as a coping mechanism with the guns, and just pouring himself so much more into that as opposed to seeking out like community, friendship, like, but oftentimes in the stories, the Malkavians are, while not necessarily the most beloved of the community, they know everybody. Like, if it's not the Nos or the Toreador that you go to find out who everyone is and what the gossip is, it's usually the Malkavians, the third line. Not the case. So not the case. So that was, again, like, character very much had a mind of his own that even I dare not necessarily try to fully comprehend. But no, it was interesting in that I got to play the fun game. One of the things I have the most fun with Vampire is leaning into stereotype and where you lean away, and having that back and forth and reinforcement, not just from you, Prax, which thank you so much for it, but also just in seeing, like, well, you're not necessarily most straight up, like, the interactions between Warren and Alice were very much, this is a Ventrue pumping the Malkavian for information, and the Malkavian's going to give them everything they want and a bit more. And then the, not just a conversation between a Salubri and a Malkavian, but an elder to a younger, and going, the Salubri going, oh god, no, I can't deny the clan thing of actually fucking caring. You are such a broken fool.
Hashtag golden child.
Which is another thing that Malkavians fall into, is they are either the absolute problem, the root cause of all things wrong, and or they are the individual that must be fixed, that must be saved. And they cannot save themselves as much as you want them to. And they should be able to, but they don't.
I think with enough help, he can fix himself.
Look, Desdemona's going to take it on.
It's probably a bad idea. No, that's going to end up worse. Nope.
Yeah, but she gets a new wardrobe out of it.
Yep.
That's how you're going to end up the next Harley Quinn. You know that, right? That's what's going to happen. You're going to dye your hair, one half of it one color, another half another color. You're going to wear a Jester's outfit, and then you're going to chase some clown around. That's what's going to happen. Mark my words. Please don't chase around clowns. This is a PSA.
Mm-hmm.
Warren doesn't look good in latex.
Small
I do
victories.
not need that image in my head.
You're welcome. PB, how did you feel like Alice epitomized and was different from being of Clan Ventrue?
Well, I started I mean, I built Alice from inside out, right? So I started off with a concept where she was gonna be rich to start with. And then it just kind of made sense to be a Ventrue at that point. And I admittedly did not read much about the clans, except I know about the clans. I did play Dark Ages, but also I have spoken to my friends a lot about Vampire, so I do know things about the clans, and more importantly, their opinions of different clans. But I did not read much into it until like Alice was created. I went more towards creating her as to seeing how she was connected to her family before I thought about really the Ventrue side of things. So I went into it just thinking about, okay, Ventrue, politicians, money, they which is very much Alice, Vanderbilt, money, high society. Okay, so she's going to approach situations in that way. And that just happens to also be the way that Ventrue, for the most part, operate. So for the most part, I approach things more as like a high society person than I did as a Ventrue. Again, it just happens that there's a lot of overlap there. And so I did after the fact, like I said, after Alice was created, I did read more into what Ventrue were, and eventually I realized that Vanderbilt lore sheet was an actual thing and not just a flavor thing. So I went and read that and saw how that applied to Alice. And so when it comes to exemplifying Ventrue, I think so. I think she did a fairly decent job of being a pretty bog standard Ventrue at the end of the day. Even if I didn't really play her to be Ventrue, I played how do I make my mom proud is really how she went into most of it. And her mom is a Ventrue. Alice, I played less with Ventrue standards and more with what are the standards that Veronique and Mithras would have wanted exemplified in their family. Because they are not my sires. I have a different sire. they are just my chosen family at this point. So if any of that happened to fall within Ventru, it is because I thought that is what they would want. How did I play against Ventru? I don't know if I did. I don't know if at any point I really played against what a Ventru would do.
No, there's one thing you did.
What did I do?
That blood wedding. That was...
Oh, that is very, yeah. You know what? That's so true. That is I guess the one thing I did do against Ventru is I decided, hey, what if, well, I mean, that starts with the character concept. My character concept was, I want to create problems between Hannah and Lauren. Everything else will come after that, but that is my main goal in this game. I would like to ruin whatever they've got going on. And to be fair, I think I did. So, and Prax messaged me with, because I was not very aware of what, I didn't even know mutual blood bonds were a thing. I knew blood bonds were a thing, did not know what a mutual blood bond was. And God knows I never would have found it in those books, had I not been told. And so Prax was just like, how messy do you want to get? And I was like, at the most. And she was like, what about a mutual blood bond? I was like, absolutely. I don't know what that is. But if you think it's a good idea, absolutely, I'll go for it. I'll look it up afterwards. I'll say yes, and then I'll look it up afterwards, which is what I did. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know this was a thing. Hell yeah. And so I did so much reading to find out so little about blood bonds. It was, and so, yeah, so, oh my God, it's so frustrating. And so I did do it. And that does go absolutely against, Alice is a character, actually. It's my favorite thing about Alice. Alice is such a little contradiction to herself. She says one thing and then she does a complete opposite in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Would not know anything about that. Can't relate.
How about you, Norden?
Oh,
you had the fun challenge of a La Sombra and a Salubre.
Okay, look. Okay, I don't think I played La Sombra very well, but he wasn't supposed to.
I don't think you were playing a La Sombra.
No, not at any point. It's more like the La Sombra is the trap. Even when we look right at the beginning, where Uzer's kind of lost himself, which is interesting to start off a character's completely lost track of themselves and then get back to, rather than the opposite. What a weird way to play a character. Just to criticize me for a second. But
it worked, and B, it worked well to see how you got there.
Yeah, but still weird. Anyway, I've never played Salubri before. I've said that before, and I don't think in earlier editions I've ever been attracted to the idea of playing Salubri or wanted to. Because they're this special clan. You hear the stereotypes, you hear how people talk about them. And in V5, they're hard mode and all of those things. And none of that appealed to me. Kind of like ever. Right down to the whole third eye thing. I don't know, I think it's weird. Really nice. I want to play that in a clan that's not supposed to be nice. That's what's more intriguing to me. But looking into it, I think I played rather to type. He is an exemplifier of his clan at his best. The problem is, and this is where I went against it, he was frequently not at his best. He was more not at his best than he was at his best, and for half of the game, he wasn't even trying to be at his best, because he was so driven by hate and revenge. So that's, I think, both and against. I will say, I played a lot of high humanity characters. It's where I like to sit, primarily because I like the torture of having personhood and fearing the loss of. That's good for me. But I don't think I've ever played a high humanity character like this, though, where he was at war not with the beast, but with himself. He was probably more human than most human characters have ever portrayed, despite the fact he is old, totally disengaged from the current timeline and has no understanding of reality. It's even at his like olden days, half of that man's life was spent up in the clouds. And yet he's so human. He's so relatable. He's such a real person, and it's so sad.
And his 2 points of lost humanity were not lost to the beast. They were lost to choices that he made as a human, quote unquote, choices, right? Like,
which is the truth of the matter, right?
you know, it's like you didn't fail any roles. I mean, like, I gave you, like, the first time you lost humanity is because you got stains because you used panacea to hold a guy in place so you could stake him.
I stand by that choice.
I agree, but I
didn't
still
actually
would say...
use humanity there. I retained my humanity.
Oh, no,
there.
you succeeded that one. You succeeded that one.
I lost humanity in character creation.
You lost in character creation, and then this time you got stains for...
An incessant amount of stains, yeah.
You got 4.
For just Oblivion choices.
Yeah, Oblivion choices, that's right.
Which, mechanically speaking, whether or not we agree or disagree, is written to say cause more stains than literally any other discipline, because no other discipline just causes stains by sheer virtue of existence.
Whether by messy, critical, or bestial failure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. I'm kind of sad that he lost that point of humanity. I was wanting him to hold on to it, but at the end of the day, it makes sense. And also, the truth of the matter is, it comes down to being human in the world of darkness is inherently a more risky process than being anything else. The thing is, the meta of the world of darkness is worse for humanity than real life was 10 years ago. Right? It's always been worse. It's humanity but worse. It's the real world but worse. That's what the world of darkness is. It's consistently written in the margins. So it is harder to maintain your humanity as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is Pentex telling you, hey, why not sell your soul for a couple bucks? And then there is vampires trying to kidnap you and drain your people, so you decide to become a monster hunter. And then there's, the oncome of the apocalypse, and yada yada yada. It just adds up.
Oh, I remember the stains were. It wasn't just oblivion, it was the frenzy that caused you to use oblivion to eradicate a ghost. That's what you got the stains for.
The
How can I
ghost,
forget?
and before that, the goose.
Yeah, using, no, it was that. It was oblivion shit. You are correct. Trooper out here giving us all the reasons why Trooper is one of the best people and we love playing with him. And hopefully soon I will get to do so again. Just saying. Throwing it out there into the universe. I mean, I know something that's going to happen.
I could list multiple people that inspired this character in this campaign, and Trooper's one of them. Like, full disclosure. And the game I played with Trooper inspired this as well. So, in a way, Trooper was here with us the entire time. Troopers
just haunts all the narrative, and we appreciate it.
Also, we did do this with the intention of raising money to get maps. So, really, Trooper was not
I would like to
it
point
all
out.
comes back around.
I would like to point out, everyone, that we did this to raise money. This is true. The mathness of it all is Pope and Norden asked me at a weak moment, and I threw out a number. And then y'all got there.
We did. Yay, yay, yay. In a way, not only was Trooper with us the entire time because he was in our hearts, Trooper was the end goal. Was the pillar at the end of the race, was what we were aiming towards, and we achieved that, and we should be proud of ourselves. Especially proud because odds are this is going to be a one-on-one between Prax and Trooper, and we won't have to deal with any of it.
That's a lie. What do you mean? We won't have to deal with it. That's a lie. We are going to have to deal with
It's a
all of the
lot.
ramifications
I
of
don't
that
know.
one no, I do know.
We had a
I-
one
I-
shot with Simon, and there was no ramifications for that. Everything's fine. Nothing's bad.
Mm,
It's great.
mm-hmm.
Hey, Lindy. How are you?
Speaking of.
Lindy, I need Brenda to show up at the castle. I just need it.
Okay,
That's
we're
for
going to
me,
take this
actually.
opportunity. We're going to take a short break. We're going to stretch, bio refresh. I need to get some more liquids. Anybody throw some questions in chat. We're having some talking about our most recent Vampire the Masquerade Down East campaign. Ask questions about V5 or anything else. Ask questions that you want us to answer. We are here to answer them. It'll be great.
Yes, Lindy, everyone must experience math. We might bring Rory back from the dead just for it.
I'll see you in a
What are we
little bit,
doing?
everybody.
What have we done?
everybody. Welcome back. We hope you're stretched, refreshed, bio, did all of those things. We are talking, doing a wrap up, dissection, reflection, all of that good stuff, answering questions about our Vampire Down East campaign that just finished. Lysander has a question, a plot question actually, about Jackson Labs, which by the way is a real thing. It is it has been a real thing since 1929. There was a ghoul NPC there. Who is Malik's ghoul? So I was wondering if they were involved in the whole Gates thing or if they were researching something else. No. The Jackson Labs thing is actually tied to Mithras. Everything going on at Jackson Labs is part of the Mithras sideline, and run by that branch of Ventrue, which is why they were the only Ventrue who stayed on the island, right? Like everybody else left. Giacomo got everybody else to leave. But Malik and like the labs themselves stayed, and then Malik came in to basically was sent there as because he was trusted and as to take care of and maintain things, because Mithras wanted Mithras things, you know.
Mithras is historically very reasonable as a character.
Oh no, Trooper, those
Yeah,
blessings
totally.
are for me. Those blessings are for me. Anything that happens not on Sunday, everything that happens on Sunday goes to players. Everything that happens not on Sunday goes to me. Which, you know,
I'm
I
sure
spent...
So
Trooper
you're at
secretly
17.
deep down knows that.
Oh, he does. I've got... No, I spent 3. I spent 3.
So you're at 14.
Just so you guys know.
It's like shield,
Numbers
but
are
take it...
important.
Yeah, it's just so that, you know, I'm sure that things will be happy and healthy, but that's Sunday things. That's Witcher things. We're talking about vampire tonight. Mostly. Most of the time. We're talking about vampire tonight.
Oh,
You know, fair enough,
So-
Crit.
But yes, no, what was going on at the labs is tied to Mithras and the fact that Mithras basically uses blood magic and diablerie to avoid dying because he can. He also has a cult.
I mean, at some point, if you live long enough, don't you just get a cult? Isn't that part of the welcome package?
I mean, he sought out his and created his even before then, so you know.
He was ahead of the
not that
curve.
you live 2 centuries and all of a sudden you get Crocs in a cult. That's not how anything works.
Tell that to Uzer's cult that we never talked about.
Uzair has a cult?
No, Uzair just
Oh.
Uzair doesn't have a cult. Uzair has a family who want to stage interventions. I don't think that counts as a cult.
I mean, there's a possibility because there are a couple of people of his standing that he has a cult as a human person. That is possible. Doubtful, but possible. So, the answer is not definitely not, if that helps. But, you know, it is not hard to get a cult these days. Shockingly. Sorry, I
mean,
just had
you
war
have Lindy in
flashbacks.
chat who played a vampire influencer.
Yep.
A
Malkavian.
Is a cult.
A Malkavian social media influencer.
Oh,
Hi, Jim. Welcome in.
Okay, I do have a question for the group of people that are here. Okay?
Mhm.
We've completed stories with these characters. We've had arcs, narrative arcs. What is your favorite part about somebody else's arc? And I'll go first, because I made this choice first. I mean, no, you do have to practice, because you're gonna compliment one of us. That's how it works, right? I can force that upon you. I'm actually forcing. I kind of loved how there was this almost rejection of the toxic coupling between Lauren and Alice before a vehement and incessant recoupling. Like, the light was there, and for a split second before the blood marriage, you could see it, and then it was immediately snuffed out. Oh, I love toxicity. Isn't toxicity fun?
It's so good. Look, I was like, look, if you're gonna get one chance out of this, it's right now. It's the most toxic time for me to ask you at this very second in time, because I'm basically forcing you to say yes, but I'm okay with that. And I am, but like, this is it. If you come out of your brainwashing for the past 50 years, and you see me for the first time, actually, right up in your face. Hey, do you want to leave this blood bond? Because this is the closest we're ever gonna get. I'm not leaving you out of my sight after this. And you know what? She made her choice. So, like, all
She
about
made a
consent.
choice, and she voluntarily said the words "I am sorry" multiple times,
Exactly. And that's
and
good enough for
attempted
me.
to improve her behavior. All of the things
As
to
was Sombra.
Mhm.
Attempt is a strong word there, but okay. I'll believe it.
Oh,
Look, it's
Sombra
not-
said sorry multiple times. This usually
It's
only
so much
happens
so
once
that
a
I
century.
thought she was lying.
I
Like, wait, what? No. Are you still brainwashed? You can tell me. I promise I won't be mad.
I mean, I can also say it's not entirely her fault she failed a summoning resistance.
I'm still gonna blame her wholeheartedly, and only her, and no one else.
You can blame Hannah.
Mm,
She's dead.
I'll always blame Hannah. Hannah will always be the issue here.
I mean, the best part about blaming the dead is that they can't defend themselves.
Speaking of
Exactly.
the dead,
Oh, God.
again, one of the other things that we really wanted to do with this campaign was play with one of the newer books that came out for V5, which is the In Memoriam book, which takes this very intriguing mechanic. Again, one of the great additions, because it's been alluded to, like it was alluded way back, and then we got a little bit more for playing with memory, playing with staked or torpid elders in Requiem. This brings it far more to the fore and makes it so that it's, hi, have you lived any amount of life? Do you need to reach back and grab a hold of something and bring it to the fore? Here. And gives us more codified rules, more definitions. It's delightful. And seeing Uzair go on his journey, and like the moment before the In Memoriam, like this is a man who is still hell bent on revenge and is untethered and is a man wronged and looking to lash out. And then he looks back. But he looks back in a uniquely elder way, making it as convoluted as possible. But in that moment, in that reaching back, in that trying to find answers, he did find answers, but not all the ones he wanted, not all the ones he expected, but he did find answers. And there were answers that changed him. And I think that was important to see and was amazing to see. Because again, as you said, getting to play the man that's no longer there, getting to see Uzair and just how gentle he was. This not just quiet competence, but confidence in not only himself, but his community, the people he cares about, the island itself. There was just this ease of things. And that most definitely by the time we end this story, that man's gone. He's gone for good. But there are glimmers of him and who remains. And that was amazing to see.
For me, what I loved, the story arc the point that I really enjoyed was when Warren came back home after being told to go home, but after learning so much, and the weight that held on his heart and his psyche and his story and everything, and how that was like the moment that made Warren be more active in his own life for the first time in a long time. And I, after that point, seeing how that affected you, whether you remember things or not, was very poignant. That breakdown into the renewal of will, essentially, that your character gained there. And even though you still got, pulled around after the fact you had more agency in your own life, I thought was very cool to watch Warren go through. And like the interaction with all your family members, you moving people around. I was like, I see why Warren is like one of the more trusted family members in that family.
See, I just enjoyed all of it. I get to enjoy all of it because because it's interesting for me, right? Like, I get to play all of the NPCs and I get to be that impetus moment, right?
Mm.
The moment when, for like with Pope, you're talking about specifically that conversation with Hasrit. Like, that's legitimately probably the most danger that Warren was in. And the only thing that stopped Hasrit from killing him in that moment is the fact that she is a warrior salubri who is trying, bless her, to live by the code. And technically, he's a victim. Like, in the most technical sense, he was a victim. So she can't kill him. But she can't reveal any of Uzair's secrets. She can't give away any of that information. So she needs him to leave. Like, to go away, because she needs Uzair to come back so that they can have a conversation, because she can't call him anymore, right? Like, if she could have just called him, she would have just staked Warren and have been like, hey, Dad.
That's my girl.
What do you want to do with this? Like, I don't know what you want to do with this.
Put him in the cellar with the others.
Like, okay. But she can't just call him anymore because he has the Lasombra Bane. And he's just like, I gotta have him come. So I can't have Warren be physically here, which is like the only reason Warren was able to leave. Like, there was a legitimate point in that conversation where I honest to God, like, I rolled for it in the background to see if she was going to do it. And she had enough self-control to be like, fuck, no, he's technically a victim. All right, I need... Dad, come fix this. I can't. God damn it. Versus Norden telling me that he wants to do a memoriam, but not on him, and not on the blood that he's actively drinking, on the blood of a dead person who's been dead for 79 years. It's like, great. Oh wait, I know how we can do this. Pope has Cobweb. And Oblivion. We're gonna spend a shit ton of time in Oblivion. It'll be great. Welcome to the underworld. It's great. Welcome to the docks.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
I have a question. In relation to the In Memoriam, it didn't end up happening. But I was thinking about a moment I was like, how do I really exemplify to the audience that Lauren and that Alice is not really okay with Lauren that much right now. Despite everything, how can I best exemplify that? And one of the ideas I had was I was going to attempt an in memoriam with Lauren, or I was going to attempt to ask for an in memoriam in which I could drag Lauren into my in memoriam of a moment in which I was going through one of the withdrawals that she did not feel, so she could experience that pain also. So she would know exactly why I'm mad at her. And I want to ask if you would have let me do something along those lines.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was,
You two need help.
That was
Professional help.
That was one of the things. Had she not disappeared immediately, that I was gonna roll for, because I was like, oh, best time to do it is like right after we just drank each other's blood, because that's in my system now. So I might be able to drag her with me.
Yes, yes. Drag the Lasombra with you into your mind. Drag the mind-controlled Lasombra into your mind.
Look, did I say it was going to be a good idea? No. I said that was an idea.
Every moment.
I never said we were healthy. I never said, look, hey, insider scoop here. No matter what Lauren was doing in this story, Alice was going to go along with it. If Lauren was a Sabbat, she would have figured out a way to work with that. If she was part of this thing with Usaid, Alice would have found a way to work with that. No matter what Lauren's story was in this game, Alice made the roll. She failed it. She was going to go with whatever was going on with Lauren.
How the hell are you still alive?
Because the story didn't go there.
The story didn't go there. I mean, like, I've been taunting the players. Like, I have my, like, notes. Like, not my other notes, but, like, my notes that I need for, and there were, you could have done that, and that would have led to things happening, which would have led to some very interesting, trippy kind of shit to happen. Because what didn't get addressed, but the reality is there was a blood bond between Hannah and Lauren.
Yes. Which is why I also wanted to kill her. Which I never said aloud. I did realize that at a point, though. And I was like, I have to murder her even more now. Oh, hey, that's why I had to make those. I had to figure that out on the mountain. Because that pissed me off so much. It was something I figured out before the mountain, that was a thing going on. That's why I had to call Grand Mare, or I was killing Hannah that night, because something had to go down. And that's why Alice did not think she had enough control in her body to not go kill Hannah. But she made a roll for it. And she managed to hold on. And call her Grand Mare.
Oh, hold on. Coldrake had a question. Should we have been more concerned that Warren had a possessed doll for how many decades, centuries?
Yes.
Short answer,
yes.
That's not what to be concerned about anymore, though. What's to be concerned about is the fact that we now have a wraith just wandering around the island untethered. And she can
Fixed
do
it.
as she wants.
The thing is, almost anyone with Oblivion could dismiss her.
Not anymore.
Actually, no. There's
nothing to dismiss her
the,
from.
there's a number of problems. Because as you stated, Oblivion's not universal. And in order to deal with wraiths, you need to take essentially there's a wraith path.
Mm-hmm.
And to now deal with her released, you need level 4.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you've got a pin in you.
Apparently not for long.
No, because Flory is pissed at you.
Can't leave well enough alone.
No,
Yeah,
Flory is
I know. Got that.
again.
But
again.
But would Uzair actually want to deal with Desdemona because Desdemona is the only reason that Ward's still on the island?
I mean, it depends, honestly. Like, that would depend very much on in play, what happened, how Uzair woke up, what kind of mood he was in. It's the whole thing. I know I could have... Here's the thing. Norden Ali Kadir knows the best option was to totally dismiss Desdemona, to put Desdemona back into the world of the Shadowlands and out of the Skinlands. Norden knows that. Norden also knows how those powers work and could have easily done so because I know how to read a book. Uzair has no idea how anything works. So he did what he could, and he's like, yeah, this is done. I fixed it. No one else bothered, so here I am. I'm fixing it. I fixed it. We're done.
Mm-hmm. Also, nobody asked the vitally important question of who she was.
You assume that the elder bent on revenge and unable to think about anything else cared.
See? And this is why Flory is judging you, because you're planning your revenge poorly.
I'm not anymore. I'm in the ground now. It's fine. Problems are solved.
No, you're not in the ground. You're in the basement.
You're in a
You're in the
bedroom.
basement.
You're in a bedroom in a basement. It's fully furnished.
Like, you've essentially got a call center, and you are on line 1.
No. You like it's like you have a fully furnished bedroom basement. Yeah, like that's a not happening.
Yeah, but how many other vampires are pinned down there? How
That's a
many
good
are
question.
Not
Don't think
in
about
that.
it.
Not in that bed. Not in that side of the basement. The coal chute and the finished basement are not the same thing.
Don't think about how many people are staked down there. It's best not to. Trust me on that one.
I know the answer to that. But the thing is, I mean, I tried to have her give hints at the time.
A person who has no idea how Oblivion works or how ghosts work would have no clue, no matter what you said, unless you're explicit, right? And here's the thing: I don't mind a little bit of metagaming here and there.
Oh yeah,
because sometimes you need to get to a point, and you just like I know how this works. The character can figure it out. It's fine. We need to get from point A to point B. We've been on this boat way too damn long. Sometimes you need a metagame. But in Uzair's case, I didn't... When it comes to displaying that side of Oblivion, where he has no connection to it, no access to it, other than the body he was taken in under, I thought, nah. Make the mistakes now, because it's...
Oh, no, what was funny about it is because you asked all the other questions around the situation except who she was.
Of course. Because she was a problem that needed fixing. I fixed the problem. Done. Doesn't matter who she was. The problem's fixed.
Oh, it kind of did.
Except it doesn't. Not to that guy. Which is... Look, sometimes you should ask the questions and sometimes you shouldn't.
No, I just found it funny. But it's okay.
Although, admittedly, there are games where I watch them and I'm like, please just ask the question. Ask the
yeah. Then you text me about it, about how they didn't ask a question, and I get to laugh, and then you don't ask the damn question.
Because character-wise, he wouldn't, and I knew the question, but I had no interest in asking it, because character-wise, it's different, okay?
But
I'm not here in an aftertalk
Warren
being
didn't ask him either. Ask her either.
Warren is so painfully uncurious, it hurts me.
Such a go with the flow kind of guy, you know?
Who has a cursed doll and doesn't ask for like a second, wait, how is this doll speaking?
No, he just avoided her. He went out. That was one of the things that Pope said. He went out of his way to avoid her. He would look around to see if she's there and then go out of his way to avoid her, try and just thought she was horrible. And it's like, okay, great. That means you've not asked her any of the questions. You don't know who she is. You don't know what's going on. And the funniest bit to me is Uzair comes in and then starts asking the important questions and then does not ask the one vital question that would have tied into all of the others. Because you assumed that she died to the fire.
I was on a revenge tour because I died in a fire. I feel like that's fair.
No. You're on a revenge tour because you got staked and the fire was to hide it. You all assumed she died to the fire. She wasn't. She was the victim to open the damn door. And Uzair is the victim to hold it open.
My favorite part about it, that entire interaction, was that's the closest to an actual human we got into this entire campaign that Usair got into. And as the as the speaker for the humans, just absolutely showed exactly how little that was. How little that was taken into account about it all. How far Usaid had fallen from Salubritas. Look, I can call the pot kettle black. You know what? I'll tell you, Carrick, and the way that Trooper haunted your narrative, Carrick haunted my narrative when I was creating Alice, and this disaster pairing between those two.
What?
Not a surprise.
Cruelty of cruelties.
You're in the back of my mind when I was creating that character.
I do agree with Trooper. Like, no, this is, by the way, this is me just poking fun because it was kind of hilarious to me that it was every other question tied to that same issue, except that one, which I just found hilarious. Not that I expect players to actually ask any questions, but Trooper's like, sometimes characters don't want to ask the question because they aren't interested in that particular topic. Sometimes they don't ask the question because they don't know the answer. Sometimes they don't ask the question because they figured that will get them killed.
That's
Also,
honestly, actually put that under the entire game because I think that's a great description of this entire game.
Also, this is going to sound really cruel. I apologize for that cruelty.
Go ahead.
But the reality of humanity right now is there's a lot of people not asking the right questions. Right? It is a lot more human to not ask the question than it is right now because of how humanity has built up the cultures and communities that support our existence. In that, when we see something that doesn't fit, we tend to ignore it or run away from it. That's a very human thing to do. So, on one hand, sometimes we are actively making choices as characters to, not ask the question. And other times, this is not a dig on any individual or even like a commentary on any individual. This is more just like, I've watched enough actual play throughout the universe to know and played enough games. Sometimes the reason why people are not asking the question is because they do not ask the question in real life. They have no concept of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And those two things you need to be aware of whenever you're making a game, whenever you're making a story, whenever you're building it. Yeah.
No,
Because
I agree.
sometimes
The thing is that you are correct, and I agree that with all of the things that you just said, and I think this is me poking fun and making fun because it was hilarious and it's Desdemona. I was like, she's going to be here, your problem. She's now your problem for the rest of eternity. Thank you very much. You gave her agency and free will. And she can do what the fuck she wants. She's not bound to a 12-inch porcelain statue of Scarlett O'Hara anymore. But at the same time, it's like questioning and asking that question is like there's avoidance on some multiple levels. They don't necessarily recognize that that's a thing. I find it always entertaining. And of course, it's a case of like, if you're viewing, it's hindsight is 2020. Fine. If you're the GM, it's your job to be able to, and this is where I pull the curtain back on GMing in my perspective anyway. If there is a major event going to happen that the players need to react to, the players have to have multiple ways to get that piece of information that will happen, because you cannot guarantee that they will get the first piece of information. They will only get it one way. It's why in that very first episode, when the Sabbat are attacking and Francisco's ghouls are attacking, there were like 4 other ways for any of you to get the information that there was an attack going on for at Hasret or Asena's. The fact that there was that messy crit with Warren attempting premonition in front of Uzair, who now has the fatal predestination, or the one where he
precognition.
Fatal precognition, and it's like, great, Warren's going to get the premonition that's going to offset and trigger the precognition in the oblivion that Uzair does not even know he really has at this point, because that's a Francisco thing. And it'd be like, hey, by the way, which member of your family you want to save? But there were other ways to get that same information. I don't know how successful Uzair would have been. I don't know if Warren would have been successful in that moment, and I don't know, well, Alice probably wouldn't have cared for most of it. So
Alice cares about a lot of things as long as they start with an L and end with an N.
True.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also Malik, even though you don't care about him.
Who?
Doesn't matter, he's dead.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm sorry, I feel like, okay, this is going to be evil. I feel like, this feels like the revelation that Yanto's dead. Like, yes, I know, but at the same time, I am disappointed, right? I know, but also, come on, man.
Yeah, by the way, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't gotten to the very end of Witcher Road's Home yet.
Sorry. Spoilers. I'm a bad guy.
Nah, it's all fine.
Surprise.
Yes, also Trooper like Lon's Libation. And, LAN. Real huge fan of LAN parties back in the day.
LAN parties are great.
Not with Lauren though. She can't participate.
This is true. It's the one activity they didn't. No, but that would make sense because your relationship ended, and then suddenly the LAN party started in the 90s. This is how you gain friends without Lauren. You just played like Civilization, whatever it was, with your friends, or World of Warcraft. Yeah, I was a big Civ 4 fan.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, not Uzair. Uzair was dead,
okay. Look,
but,
and this is where I'm gonna go. Civ, okay on LAN party, but no. We had LAN parties for one thing and one thing only. It was, two things. On option B, because it was a weekend, it was for Doom. Option A, because it was a weeknight and you had to go to class the next morning, it was for Halo.
Mm-hmm.
See, Halo, I did co-op, console co-op.
No, we were A, poor, and B, Dungeon Siege LAN party. There we go.
Look, when 8 cousins get together, you can make enough money for just one console.
Mm-hmm.
Who's thinking that you're going to say
not Liberation
Voltron?
Trooper. Sorry, I don't think Alice is a fan of Liberation. That's the exception.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sorry, what were
Maybe her own.
Maybe not. You got involved in a two-way blood bond. I'm saying.
you walked into the exact opposite of Liberation by choice. What were you saying?
Repeatedly.
Pope.
No, I was just gonna say 8 cousins get together and form Voltron. But
Yeah, it was the
I-
legs.
nice.
Sorry, when my cousins get together, there are pictures on the internet of what we do. It's called food.
Well, there was that too.
I mean, that was last weekend. It was.
Now, I do have a question.
Mhm.
So, there is this shared universe, and you have stated that Maine is a part of it.
Mhm.
How has the series of unfortunate events that have played out on this island affected the world state of the shared universe that you can talk about?
Well, the summit happened, so interesting things are going on there. There's a Malkavian Justicar hanging out who got a welcome gift basket from Rebecca. I don't know that he likes that he got that welcome gift basket from a changeling mage, who just wants to be nice and friendly. Come on. New York is strange and difficult, and we know that the Second Inquisition is there, and we know that there are certain kidnappings still happening, and I am not going to say that perhaps those kidnappings may or may not have had influence and been helpful to certain parties on this particular island. But they were useful to certain parties on this particular island. Because Uzair was in one of 3 caves. And there are 3 open doors to oblivion that were guarded by 3 homuncular servants created by Francisco de Granada. And certain parties that may or may not still be on this island were taking or using the things that came out from New York. You might find out. Yeah, Lysander, Rebecca Leibowitz is indeed hold on a sec. Oh my god, it's like, just honestly, she's the best thing that ever happened to Lower Manhattan. She is a very devout Reformation Jew who's here to help you with your problems. And some of those problems involved a certain particular gangrel who got his head screwed on the wrong way, and it just caused him problems. So she's there to help. And be friendly. And she's friends and she goes to tea with the prince on occasion and other people. It's great. She is one of the more interesting things I could do. I can't. The biggest problem I have right now with V5 mechanics is that there aren't rules for characters that exist in the rest of New York at the moment.
Well, what is a mage, really?
The bigger
mage.
problem is the changeling aspect, I'll be honest.
I'm curious to see if they'll get translated into V5 and how.
I do not think either mage or changeling will be translated.
We'll never know. I mean, okay, we will know. Sorry. We will know, but we're not going to know anytime soon. You're not going to die before 6th edition comes out, if it comes out, or until it's given up upon, in which case we'll know that way. We'll figure that out.
Yeah,
one point.
but like, honestly, there seems to have been like, hey, there was some really questionable stuff that was written in these books. 90s were a hell of a time, folks.
and we want to, address things, update them, try and make things better. One of the positives. Not always executed properly, but at least the intent is there. Changeling has a number of things that need revision, just on a mechanics level, let alone the great diaspora and what was begged, borrowed, and stolen from without much thought. So that would be an undertaking. And then Mage, take that, and then take the most convoluted, arbitrary rule system ever really put out within World of Darkness and try and codify it. This time, do it with decent font and the right color ink, please.
So light pink
No.
and wingdings.
And
Prometheus and Mummy are never coming.
I think there's a chance at Mummy. It's just
I think
it will look a lot different.
Mummy.
The thing is Prometheus the Prometheus and Mummy won't come because they just don't have the finance. Pull it back, right? Let's look at the core system. As much as we all love all of the World of Darkness and we would love to play any of the games of World of Darkness, Prometheus and Mummy are the two lowest sellers historically.
Well, especially if you look at like the Mummy they did for New WoD.
Yeah, like they just don't make the money, so they're not going to do it.
But the New WoD Mummy, I feel, is very much like the spiritual predecessor to V5. It is designed for these characters to tell a short story. Not a long story, not one where you're super powerful. It is meant to tell a very tight, short story. It is mechanically designed this way. Reinforced with, and again, it's New WoD. They threw out pretty much everything about what came before, which in many ways definitely dialed the power back down to, I take 2 weeks and then I can kill God. That was Mummy. To, I take 2 weeks and I might still be lost in how to get out of this city. So that, again, New WoD Mummy, very much spiritual successor V5. Promethean had a number of deliberate, purposeful design flaws that even when they changed the Chronicles of Darkness, they removed one, they introduced another. Because we can't leave well enough alone.
I mean,
but yeah, fair, they're not big sellers.
Hunters was also not a seller back in the day, and it did have one video game made after it, which is, I think, one of the reasons why it got upticked.
Yeah,
but it was not that popular a game.
But I will say, Reckoning when it was out wasn't a big thing, but with New WoD, Vigil sold.
Vigil sold a lot.
Vigil sold enough to get multiple books to come out post fact for a number of things for support, including getting one of the, what I like to refer to as 2.5 books before they fully go into Chronicles. They had a Transitions book just for Vigil. So
I personally think Mummy has a shot because of the still hunger for more Mummy-based content in other realms, you know?
I think if it happens, it's not going to happen until 2027 when they release the new Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz.
Oh, I don't think it'll happen until after then.
After
I'm
that,
saying, like, I'm
yeah.
saying it's like it's gonna follow on that coattails. That's what's gonna.
Oh yeah.
No.
Although-
If it does well, and it should do well, we'll probably have like a Mummy book in 2029.
To be fair, there's also a Mummy film out right now. You can go into theaters. This is not an advertisement. I've not watched it. I hear it's not bad though.
I don't know. Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes, it's apparently pretty decent. To answer your question, Coldrake, the Kraken was not a Kraken. That was just an Elder Lasombra who was pissed. That's what that was. That was Sophia de Veranos going, "Fuck you all. I'm going to use Obtenebration and just go crack."
It
And
happens.
didn't care. Like, technically the whole island is a masquerade breach, but the whole island really doesn't care a lot.
Yeah, let's see how long
Maine.
that lasts. It's not just Maine. It's the whole nothing bad ever happens here thing too. That was behind the Mortals too.
Yeah, nothing bad happens here. We're fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, there was all of that. And now we're having discussions about Trooper with Yanto. Yeah, to be fair, Yanto is Yanto.
Look, if I'm happy to answer any Witcher questions.
If we're answering Witcher questions, I'm changing the overlay. You think I'm
Valid, very
joking?
valid. No, I don't
Wait,
think you're joking.
no,
I've
wait.
known you long enough.
Give me 30 seconds, y'all. We're gonna switch this up because apparently vampire questions are done for the night, and we're shifting to Witcher. That's fine. I will do so.
No. You were right the first time. Shipping. We're shipping to Witcher.
No, we're not.
3,
Yes, we are.
2,
Leave my love life alone.
1. Hold on, I gotta fix it. I'll be right back.
That's why you
Okay,
get a
go
wheel
ahead.
down Social
Yeah,
Six.
go ahead.
I have a feeling that I don't know how I know this, but I have a feeling the overlay somehow just changed on us.
It's crazy. Is there any story point that we didn't get to that you think should be mentioned?
I mean, you didn't. I don't know if it's story points that you didn't get to, but details you didn't get to, information you didn't get to. Like, Giacomo was not yet regent. This was his bid to become regent, basically, to take his effective means of stopping the beckoning and shifting it to a more larger scale model. It's like, this was my proof of concept, and now let us move it to a bigger scale model. You never talked to Raymond. And Raymond would have been able to give you some interesting information because Raymond is actually the character that Simon created for the Dark Ages game. Because Simon created we did the Dark Ages campaign, and there were 3 one-shots that went with that game. One was with Kelly when she was playing the same character that she played as the Prince of New York, as a younger, and when Mithras installed her as the Prince of Colchester. The other was Trooper when he was playing the most wonderful Malkavian, Prince of German. Trooper, what town was it? It's some city in Germany. Holy Roman Emperor. He'll let me know which one it was because he remembers. And then the third, at the end of the whole campaign, in response to everything that had happened and the massive public fuck ups that had come, Simon played an Inquisition character, Dark Ages Inquisitor, Hunter, basically.
Mm.
And Raymond, unfortunately for him, gets turned in the very end of that session by the Nosferatu spy master on the island of
Yes.
Sicily.
Mm.
And Raymond, through a bunch of things that end up happening, Raymond ends up trapped in oblivion. And so when I said that he was covered in oblivion, he's been in oblivion for the past 6 centuries.
Oh.
And he finally gets out. And that's why he's like, doesn't know what's going on. But it would have been a point of information for you about everything that was going on the island.
Well, to do that, I'd have to know what was going on first, and I also was clueless. So
That's because you failed your roll to find out information about the ritual when you woke up. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, like I said, there were other ways to get information that would have been beneficial to you. But major plot points you got. It was just where they were and how they would have gotten to you and where you would have gotten from them, or different information based on it. You would have gotten like if you had actually gone out to Castra, you may have gotten some information about who was doing weird shit on the mountain. Because there was 3 people who maintained the ritual that was
Oh.
that
doors open.
Uzair was focus of.
Oh. I didn't know where Khosrow would have been. I never found him on the map.
You needed to know who he was to go to him. But that's because he's
Yeah.
a tithe collector.
Yeah.
And then if you had gone to the art gallery, you may have met Gaspard, and he would have given you different information about Hannah.
Oh.
And like I said, it's my job as a GM to build in multiple ways for you to get the information that's important to you and to this narrative, right? And to the game. A lot of things would have been multiple different avenues or paths to get to that information. Like Flory showing up was not originally in the cards. But the way that Uzair had the conversation with Jordani and was just like, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. Jordani's like, things aren't fine. But he can't go himself right now. He's like, no, who's closest? Oh, I'll send Flory. There you go. Have Flory. I rolled to see if it was going to be Flory or someone else. And I was like, oh, wait, you get Flory. That could be fun. There was the possibility of Malik surviving. But that stopped the minute you gave him to Heath. Like, Malik was dead the instant you gave him to Heath.
It's gonna do nothing for your trust issues, truly.
who?
You.
What?
Your trust issues. The one person you trusted was Heath.
Yeah.
And then he tried to stab you unconsensually.
And put you in a
I'm
trunk.
not gonna have that conversation. Nope.
Not
That's
gonna.
why you're in the box.
Because you know, you are you tried to mentally heal him, which, you know, I guess he was doing better. after he, you're wearing the face of the guy, his lover.
And that's
And
not
whose
going to
fault is
fuck him up at all.
that?
Not his fault at all.
Not mine either.
Not how that works.
I didn't say that Heath was sane. Um,
No, I get it. I get you, Heath. I understand where you're coming from, bud.
um. Oh, and Eric had a bunch of stuff if you could have gotten information from him, but you cut his head off. And Asena wanted to do more for you, but you kept shutting her down, so...
Yeah, well.
Desdemona
Look,
had a
not-
bunch of stuff, but Lauren didn't ever want to listen to her.
We can't all be as healthy as our Witcher characters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
What? What?
Nope. Nothing. I didn't say nothing. I didn't say one word. Didn't say one single word. But I think that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to let everybody else go around, say where you can be found, all of those things, and then I can say some stuff at the end. But thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for embracing the chaos that is the after action, I guess we'll call it, inside the RPers studio. So why don't we start with Pope? Any last minute
everybody.
love, any joy, anything, share it.
Okay. Well, first business, then pleasure. Hey everybody, Pope here, Pope World Build on the internets over at Blue Sky and start playing games. If you want to see more of this silly face, well, you can tune in here Sunday 8 p.m. for more from Kabir with Love. But before that, over on Laugh Love Lindy's channel this Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, some more Nightmare at Vestibule, where with not just my familiar face, but a few other familiar faces from the channel. You will see the lovely tax evaders of Greenland as they go about getting ready for a midsummer festival. There's going to be a hand fasting. There has to be a little bit of hunting to get little things prepped for the festival. There's just so much busyness. Love is in the air. It's going to be an absolutely wonderful time. Pay absolutely no attention to the spider imagery, the strange dreams, or the fact that one of the people who's practicing the occult arts in the settlement may not actually be alive. Nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing.
You should be more interested by the fact that Lindy says she has a lovely surprise for you.
See, I get scared when Prax has a surprise for me. I experience terror when Lindy says she has a surprise for me. This is no fault of anyone. It's just I know the styles of surprises. This is Call of Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm. It's a lovely and nice surprise. She did lots of research for it.
This is going to involve a muskox. And I'm honored, terrified, and somehow I need to say this now. Susie, I'm so sorry for what's going to happen.
Yes, it was just a muskox. Now it's muskox plus.
Why is there a plus? Oxes don't need pluses. This is not
Yes,
an
but
anime.
they can.
I do not need this ox to go plus ultra. No.
I think this Mux needed it, you know?
Mm-hmm. It shows.
Wait until you
Yes,
get
it
Musk
shows-
Ox plus plus.
Yes, it shows that Lindy cares. I feel honored and terrified Um, but
I'm enjoying
but
it.
as is established, my pain and suffering brings great joy on this channel. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I went hunting alone because I didn't want to be a bother. Um, so yeah, no, just so much love to give. Uh, PB is always great to play alongside you. But I have to say, just personally for me, it was an absolute joy to see you play Alice, and to have you so passionately, joyfully jump into the deep end of the VTM pool and embrace every single aspect of it. Um, as somebody who genuinely holds the setting and the stories contained therein so dear, um, this was a personal delight to see you give it such thought, such passion, such love. Um, and thank you for Alice. Like she is among the peak of our troublesome faves. Like she is just with without knowing so much about the setting, you have given us one of the most Ventru to ever Ventru being Ventru. Um, like I would love. This is a long shot to see you and Scott Ventru at each other. Um, that would be something to behold. Uh, Norton, you are just that damn good. Um, the the fact that you have this, I am so envious of your bravery. You have this curiosity, confidence to go, I see the thing. I'm interested about the thing. I want to do the thing. And you don't back off. You don't half ass it. You fully embrace it. You give your whole self to it. And it is all the time. When you're on, you're on. Um,
I'm a
and
werewolf. A full moon is kind of my thing. Sorry.
that's fair. But it's something I adore about you. It's something that I am jealous of and I'm in awe of. So thank you for sharing of your talent and your time and your obvious passion with Huzair. Um, and Prax, once again, it is always an honor to be at your table. An honor and an absolute privilege and a joy to get to share these stories with you and to go to places that normally I don't get the chance to go to these dark places because it requires a level of care and safety and thought that you provide time and time and again. So I have the luxury to do a deep character dive of somebody who is clearly not well. But I know that I can go there, that I can be safe, and that I can bring his truth to light with you and with the people at your table that you so graciously set for us time and time again. And thank all of you for being here, being part of this community, sharing in this, making this safe, making this fun, and being part of this story. You're much a part of it as anybody else. Story needs its audience, and you are that audience, and I thank you. And I thank you for the time, and of course, with this being a charity drive, the money that you have given not just so that we can indulge ourselves with the mathness, but in these incredible times, extraordinary, unfortunately exciting, you have given light. You have given of your table to share with others, and that should not be diminished. It should not be forgotten. So thank you for that. Please take care of yourselves and one another. I look forward to seeing you all very soon.
Well, thank you, Pope. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of those thoughts. And hey, PP. Thank you for being the problem.
You're very welcome. I'm PP from @PP Plays Inside, where you can find me over on Blue Sky and on Twitch. And thank you for inviting me to this VTM game. It is a game that I know that the people I share the table with are very passionate about. As I've stated before, I've heard them talk about it time and time again, with great fervor, and getting the ability, the chance to play it with you guys, and having you guys hold my hand and guide me through the setting and the game has been an absolute pleasure. The six shot was a ton of fun, and I am happy to get to play another game with Norden so quickly, after literally playing with him for the first time in The Witcher. So it's a pleasure to see just the amount of willingness of complexity you're willing to put into your characters, and both mechanically and just narratively. It's been so much fun playing opposite you and experiencing your characters through narrative, and I'm very grateful to have gotten the opportunity to do so, especially in Vampire. And Usaida was such a compelling character and challenged me to look at the game in a different way than I think I would have approached it otherwise. Right from the get-go, through character creation, you came in swinging, and I'm very grateful to have the experience of playing this with you in such a refreshing light. And Pope, I always love playing with you. It's always an absolute pleasure. In the same vein, as many games as I have played with you at this point, I am always surprised and overjoyed to see the new directions you take characters, and the emotional leaps and bounds you're willing to take with them. Every character just has such a different flavor, I guess, of on the emotional spectrum, and it's been such a joy and delight always continuously to play with you and see how you approach your characters, and to see it in a system that you care about so much was a lot of fun, because in the same way I got to see a different swath of what a vampire can be in Vampire the Masquerade, and I'm grateful to always play with you, and I'm so glad that I was finally able to play with you in this system that I know you hold so dear. And in that same vein, thank you so much, Prax, for inviting me into the game and allowing me to play at your table in a system that I also know that you care for, and to help me, guide me to be able to play the messiest character I've played thus far in such a complex way that I was not aware of when I said yes, when you said, would you like to be in the Blood Bond? I did not know then what I was saying yes to. And you know what, to be fair, I still don't know what I said yes to, really, because the literature is a little bit lacking on that. And so I got to just make a lot of fun narrative decisions on what does that mean and how will that affect someone over time. And being able to play opposite you with all these wonderful NPCs you've created and this wonderful narrative, I loved it. I'm very grateful I was able to play it, and I am, as always, grateful to be playing with all of you and at this table.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Yes, Norden, the correct answer is, would you like to be in a blood bond? It is one hell of a question, because it leads to
But
hell.
I said yes to immediately.
Hey, Norden. How are you?
speechless. My name is Norman Lucas. My pronouns are he, him. Werewolf Feels online. Thursday, I'll be on one of DM's channel playing a witch with Simon, GMing us through a world of The Witcher that is darker and different and sad. And good things are going to happen, but also bad things. In fact, only bad things. I've been promised. But Sunday we'll be here playing Carrick again. I should have gone first. Just two compliments. Yeah, Gavin. Okay, taking a deep breath. My apologies. Pope, I appreciate how vulnerable you're willing to be. Right? And how willing you are to let the narrative hurt you and let the people around you. You put a lot of faith in us, both Prax as storyteller, but also us. And Warren was one of the most vulnerable characters I think I've seen played, in that there's literally nothing he could get done unless he was being influenced to do so, which means we had to influence him, which means you let us influence you. And that's an interesting character choice that I don't see very often and really meaningful. Especially because, God, you have to really trust the people around you. And the fact that you're willing to do that, that's pretty impressive, mate. PB, to come in and say yes. I don't think I've ever heard you say no. But to come in and keep on saying yes, that's half the battle right there. That's half the job. That's half the work. And then to make those yeses make sense, that's the other half, and you do that well too. But it's again, the trust and the faith. Prax, there's a theme here, in case you haven't noticed. You put a lot of faith in us as players, but you also did this thing primarily because one of us asked you.
No. You can go ahead and say it. You asked.
No.
Yes. You asked. I said yes. I hope you got what you wanted.
It's meaningful. It's meaningful. The amount of trust in this group, and the amount we're willing to trust each other, even when we have difficulties trusting ourselves. I'm speaking for me here. That's how you get good game. That's half the problem with actual plays out there, where there's groups of people who do not trust each other because they do not know each other, and the groups of people who trust each other despite the fact that they shouldn't. And that's how you get bad storytelling. How you get good storytelling, communicative storytelling, is people putting faith in one another, trusting it, and respecting that faith being put in them. And that's something that I'm really impressed all of you have done and displayed, and it means the world to me, and it makes me very and you sing nice, and that's how I'm done.
So you have to acknowledge yourself in that pile of trust, because it doesn't work unless everybody's trusting each other at the table, and we appreciate you for it as well.
That's the thing you can say, and that could be true, but I will not.
It's okay, I'll say it for you. Also, you never answered the question.
What's the question? I forgot it.
The question was, did you get what you wanted? When I said yes, it'll do this for you.
It's a vampire game. I got exactly what I wanted. I wasn't expecting more.
Well, there you go. That's all we needed. Look, I am a very simple person. I had a person say, I don't get to play enough vampire. I'm like, I'll run a vampire campaign. And Norton's like, yeah, that'll never happen. I'm like, bet. What are you doing in March? Literally, that was verbatim the conversation. And that's what will happen. And that's why, Scott said, hey, when are we going to play V5? And I said, I'm trying plans for fall. And he said, don't tease me. I'm like, bet. See what happens in the fall. But I appreciate each and every one of you for trusting me. I appreciate each and every one of you for trusting each other. I appreciate the story that built out. I appreciate PB for being willing, to play in a game that you have not had a lot of comfort with and never played really before, but also all of the effort and time and dedication that you went into outside of the table to make it even better. And I know a lot of that was because it was fun for you as well, but also I hung out in your chat. I know exactly what you were doing and where things were going and all of that kind of stuff, which is great. And I had so much of it. So thank you for that. Thank you, Pope, for playing a Malkavian and bringing in so much fucking oblivion. All of the fucking oblivion. Not just you, but other people who brought in oblivion as well. But the narrative choice that Warren was, which was the point at which we could highlight both the Pleasantville-ness of the setting, but also the cracks that were starting to show across the variety of places. Thank you for being willing to play with those cracks and highlight them even more and play across the table from all of us in a way that helps the narrative grow in so many interesting and different ways. Thank you, Norden, for asking for this. I had fun in spite of myself. No, I had fun because I enjoy the game. Thank you for being a good sport about the chaos choice that you made. Because you could have given me more information about Francisco and you didn't. And I told the players, I don't know if I told everybody else, but I told the players I have a character sheet for Francisco. Like, I haven't actually made Francisco a character sheet. But it was a joy to play and experiment and twist and see really what the rules of this system can do. Sometimes easily, sometimes really not. But it was great to see that narrative moment. Also was brilliant to see how things would get pushed and where you would push them. And it was brilliant to see that. I had a lot of fun. I hope everyone else had a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody who hung out with us. Thank you, everybody who donated. Thank you, everybody who pushed us to that $1,000 mark. I know you all did it because you wanted math, but thank you again for your support for World Central Kitchen and everything they're doing in Gaza right now. Thank you for those of you who are watching on YouTube. I see you. I appreciate each and every one of you over there and the world that kind of continues to build. As for other things, May 2nd, something will open and premiere on YouTube. You should be excited for the next alternating 6 weeks. Alternating 6 every other, so 12 weeks really, I guess is what it comes down to. That'll be premiering on YouTube. You should check it out. It's over there. And, you know, ring the bell, do the thing, all of that. Yeah. There will be something else coming, hopefully this summer, June, July-ish. Put a pin in that. I have to talk to people. Because scheduling is a thing. And then we'll be here on Sunday because apparently there's an infestation in Madras' house. Yes, your house, your joint house, your family manse.
Our house. Not mine, not hers. Ours.
Cool. That there's an infestation of undead. And drama. And romance. And a bunch of messages from Simon that confirmed what I already knew, but they make me feel better because they confirm what I already knew about Cadarn.
Why is he out to break my heart? Snap it in two. Just, yeah, it's what it's there for.
We'll see then. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens next in the future because I'm still here. We're still doing this. We're still having fun. And as long as you get around a bunch of friends to tell stories with, and then you're having a good day. So, as horrible or as things are, try and make it a little better for everybody else and focus on yourself. Make it a little bit better for you too. But joy, happiness, shenaniganery. Bup, 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 bup. We're gonna go send some love over to my colleague, Wolfide. He and I support World Fisher House Foundation together and do charity stream and fun stuff together. And he's playing some Windrose. So pirates. There are plenty of pirates. I think you need more pirates in life. So we'll see you all next time, everybody. Bye-bye.